Oh, no.
Yep.
Recollection.
For a second.
You have to hold it. Yep.
That's a
So it's on.
I might even do it.
It's all on. Everything's good.
But, you know, that's
So when
What do you do for
they're
Skip?
ready- Oh yeah. Now we can do skip. Okay.
Something for free.
Are other people getting cereals?
So
I am.
just go up here. See this? So we're gonna go here, and then all you have to do is just click the arrow keys, and it will go over. See? So the two arrow keys, the left and right. So when you want to advance to the next screen, you just hit the arrow keys, just like that. Okay? If you need to go back, you just hit the arrow key the other way. Okay? It'll be very simple. Once we get to your agenda item, I'll switch the screen so it shows this screen. Right?
Anyway, that's the come.
And we got a very public. We have to get.
Yeah, but that's awesome.
Going through my notes. So, yeah, this is cool. So I know you're into this
Now,
sustainability.
I'm going to put this one over here for right now.
And the law did everything they could too.
Yeah, I think we can hold our heads up.
Here.
That's how it goes.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that I don't want to try and
No, I'm
fight
with
as
you.
much as we can.
All right, you ready? 7:08. Let's roll.
Easy. Gosh.
That's cool tonight, Jeff. It's
Oh, does he really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, all
Be
right.
considerate.
That's real then. I got that. I can go with that. That's like, yeah. Okay. All right. That's fine. It's all good. It's all good. All right. All right, everybody. Thank you for being here tonight. It is February 5th, the first Monday meeting of February for the town commissioners. In the house are Ed, Sarah, Martin, myself. Jeff is joining us on via Zoom or whatever it is. Is it Zoom? Right, Google Meetings. Thank you. Let's make sure we have proper attribution. Also, too, we've got Niles and Wade, and then Attorney Jay Gullo is also leaning in with us tonight. Thanks for being here, Jay, for wherever you are right now. But you're looking good. I know you have a tie on there somewhere.
He's got a bathing suit on, too.
Combination tie bathing suit. Good job. We'll take it. We'll take it. So appreciate everybody being here, and we apologize for the late start. We had a closed session before this that we will be reporting on in our next meeting. So again, a couple minutes late. I apologize. In honor of Rosa Parks' birthday yesterday, and the fact that we're going to be recognizing Black History Month today, I would ask that if my compadre Ed would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I want to take Jeff's job. But
Nope, that's your job.
Here, let's go with it. All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, man. That was perfect. That's exactly what we were looking for. All right. So before we get started with the regular business of the town of Poolesville, we wanted to have a chance to recognize Black History Month, and again, Poolesville is a town that has been working hard. You can come on in. Oh, is he bringing us food? Oh, that's okay. Nice job, Sharam. Good husband. Okay, so without further ado, we did want to the history. Black History Month is important, and it's important nationwide, of course. But we're lucky to have a person that has lived it and has been an integral part of our community, a family that has played a key role in all the good things that happen here in Poolesville. And I'm thankful to call my friend Skip Etheridge a friend, and then I wanted to have Skip come up and give us a presentation tonight as kind of a special tribute, a special tribute to Black History Month. So Skip Etheridge, if you don't mind, come on up. Are we all set up for him tech-wise?
Yeah. So
Fingers crossed.
I'm going to have to switch the computer there. So
Oh, look at his lovely
Yeah.
assistant too is here with us. Former chairperson of the Poolesville Day Committee, Faith Etheridge, is on the computer for us tonight. Faith did a great job for many years for us.
okay.
All right, let's see if we can get this together. Looks good, guys. Oh, we're trying.
Oh, my voice is loud enough.
Yeah.
But will it pick it up?
For the
May
YouTube.
not pick it up.
You have a broader audience.
Yeah.
The whole World Wide Web is watching.
Okay,
Yep.
There we go.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, look.
I am absolutely thrilled anytime I'm asked to present on Black history, especially as it pertains to Poolesville, because my roots are very, very deep. And Jim called me a long time ago. I think it was Friday.
No.
And invited me. So in the interest of transparency, I will say this. I asked my wife, Faith, to help me get together some sort of presentation. And as all of you know, most of you know, all you've got to do is ask her to help, and she will immediately take over. So this presentation that I'm going to talk to you very briefly about, Faith put together. And I'm just, shout out to Faith, of course, but she did put it together. At any rate, like I said, I'm always excited to talk about African American history, Black history, Negro history. So there's a lot of different ways that you can structure history. But when you talk about history that is local, right here in Poolesville, it's exciting. Because there are a lot of figures in Black history. I mean, everybody knows that. But we can touch, we can feel the history here in Poolesville. And it goes back. Again, Faith put this together, and she tells us what Black history is and what Black History Month means, and so forth and so on. Begins with the 1st of February and ends, of course, with the 1st of March. Next slide. Okay, one of the most interesting aspects of Poolesville is talking about the 6 communities. And I've been at the high school for, I want to say 17 years. I've worked at the high school. And most of the people in the high school have no idea that these communities which circle Poolesville even exist. Most of them, as far as the people who first established them, are gone. So there's not a lot of people still in these communities. Next slide, please. And here they are. Jerusalem, Jonesville, Martinsburg, Big Woods, Mount Ephraim, and Sugarland. Sugarland is down there last, but that's where my family is from, Sugarland. Jerusalem, a community of free blacks. It was established in 1861, and it traces its existence back that far. So that's right there at the Civil War. Jonesville, okay. Jonesville received the name from Erasmus Jones and Richard Jones. And as quiet as the history of Poolesville is to the occupants, it's not really quiet to anybody else. As a matter of fact, one of the homes in Jonesville here, it's a 2-level home right here. It's called the Jones Smith Sims House. It's not there anymore because it has been taken apart and put back together at the African American Museum of Natural History on the mall. It is completely put back together. And why did they pick that house? Was because in Montgomery County, there were so many African American communities with freed slaves, and all of these that's an oxymoron of landowning blacks in the community. And in Poolesville, in particular, they had 6 communities. Okay, you can see my flash on there, but this is on the 2nd floor of the hall at the museum. And to my surprise, when I went there and I saw how they were, wow, this is this is Montgomery County, this is Poolesville they're talking about? Yes. And like it says here, it says by the 1900, at least 8 African American communities were in Montgomery County. 6 were in Poolesville or close by. Also in Jonesville, and some of you may have already known this, that the sweet spot, the dump, that house was one of the Rosenwald schools. Julius Rosenwald was a philanthropist, and he was a owner of Sears and Roebuck. He established 270 schools in the state, over 5,000 in the rural South completely. And what he did was he put his own money together to establish these schools because he knew that the path to freedom was not just to be let go. The path to freedom was education. So that was one of the schools that Julius Rosenberg established, was right there at the sweet spot, right there where the dump is. Martinsburg, that's another community. You go right down Whites Ferry Road, and you will see a little church. The church is still there. The Loving and Charity Hall is gone. One of the occupants of Martinsburg today is the Reverend Pastor Chuck Copeland. I think we all know him. His family is there, and his house is there. That's Martinsburg. It's on the way to
White's Ferry.
White's Ferry, but more importantly, it's on the way to
Calava.
what's that?
Calava.
Yeah, Calava. The Haunted Forest. So, that's what I was trying to say. But anyway, in Big Woods.
Yeah.
Okay, Big Woods is one of the oldest, and several families still live in Big Woods. Big Woods is off of 109, Route 109. It's not too far from the fire hall. But a lot of the families still live there. Go ahead, the next. Mount Ephraim, it's dried up. I don't think any of the families still live there. But again, it was one of the communities, to me, and then certainly to a lot of other people, the occupants of these communities fueled the economic status of Poolesville. And without their goods and services and coming and going, I think they would, Poolesville today would probably be just like a zip code, another zip code like Bellsville or Orangeville, the other communities we go through. Okay, Sugarland, my favorite, because that's where I live. I still live in Sugarland. Again, Sugarland was established by William Taylor, 1871, I believe. When he got the deed, he and 2 other African Americans, it cost them $25 for the deed. And under the condition that it would always be a school, a church, and a graveyard to bury. And here's the slave quarters. And this picture was taken not too long ago. I say not too long ago, but back in the 1950s. That's on Sugarland Road, and that building is gone now. It's a slave quarters that was on Sugarland Road. It's been demolished. Okay, this is Seneca Quarry. Now I want you to keep in mind that it looks like a muddy mess. But that picture also is in the National Museum. And why? Why is that picture there? But anyway, Sugarland Quarry doesn't exist anymore, but for a time, it delivered goods and services, and the red brick was taken down the canal, and that is the brick that they use for the Smithsonian Castle. And I think everybody's familiar with that. That's also on the mall. So you're talking about the African American Museum is on the mall, and the impact that we've had, I say we, Poolesville has had, the African American community, and the red brick for the castle. Now, to build a castle that much, that large, and that enormous, that was several trips down the canal. And also that red stone is also used for a lot of the other buildings in Washington, D.C. I think Adams Morgan, to pick one. But that red brick is still in Sugar Land, and I can show you. Go ahead. Shout out to Martin Radigan. It's an excellent picture of St. Paul's Community Church. It's a museum. This is a picture of the church back in 1952. But go back to the picture, please, Faith. Okay, that's a. I hope you don't, have copyrights or anything like that. But at any rate, Martin took that picture, and some of the pictures that he's taken have been just fantastic. But anyway, I went back to that just to show you the structure of that building and how powerful it is. They held church in there for several years, but now it's just a museum. And if you can see a tombstone on that picture. It's one of the first tombstones back there, and that's my great-grandmother's tombstone. Okay, you can move it. Again, 1952, May Day, and this is a brick structure that's in front of the museum with the members of the community, the names of the members of the community that were in the church. Okay, and this is another picture of the well that is also at the museum. That well still exists, but it's closed off, and that's what the well and pump looked like today, if you're interested. Here's a resolution from the Maryland Senate. Mike Miller signed it, and also Senator Gene Rosser back in 1996. And that resolution was written for the Sugar Land Forest community and the very historic St. Paul's Church. And shameless plug here, that's me. When they erected the sign for the Sugar Land Church there as a National Historic Site, the news people came out, Howard University came out, so many people came out. Mr. Diggs, Mr. Hebron, and Mr. Taylor. William Taylor, of course, being my great-great-grandfather. The descendants of those three men were all at the ceremony and the dedication. It was really quite moving, and it was a great day. And anyway, it's a National Historical Site. Okay, the church. What has the church done? Back in 1967, it held the first interracial wedding. Back in 1967, that was Tillman Lee and his bride, and I'm certainly glad they got that out of the way. But anyway, and this is another neat one about the church. You see the church there? It was depicted in a movie called Philomena. Next time you rent it or see it, Philomena, check it out, because the church in that movie that supposedly is a Catholic church somewhere in Europe, Judi Dench stars in the movie and everything, but they use how they found the church in Sugar Land is beyond me. But anyway, Hollywood is Hollywood's. But that was in 2012 that they did that, and that's Judi Dench there, and some of the folks from around here. Oh, and Gwen Reese is there. She passed away a couple of years ago, and she was instrumental in making that church a museum now. And also Suzanne Johnson's on that picture. But anyway, that's the crew for the movie, Philomena. So yeah, everybody, and this is from Randy Davis's monocle. Shout out to Randy Davis. I think he's run at least 3, maybe 4 articles extended articles on life in Sugar Land and other African American communities. He's done a great job. And what happened?
I don't know.
Oh, wait, okay. Another shameless plug. There's me and my son, Zach, at the Sugar Land Forest sign that was hand painted by Caroline Taylor. Above on the right is my grandmother. My grandmother and her family, the Masons, also from Sugar Land. It was, they had a litter of children. In the middle, that's the matriarch, and that's her grave. That's the first grave in the graveyard, Letha Mason Hall. But anyway, that's all her brothers and sisters in that picture. I gave it to Randy, and he put it in the paper. But at any rate, that's another story. And this is another story that Randy did. And he also said that, I don't know where he got his information from, but he said that Sugar Land Forest was named because they said that the women were sweet as sugar. Okay, well, Randy said it, so it must be so. But anyway, oh yeah, and then we had a trader. Wait a minute. Basil Dawson, who may be Basil Dorsey, decided that he was going to go into the Confederate Army, and he was a member of the church too back then. He was a member of the Sugar Land community, and I won't say he was a traitor. He wasn't, but he did join up because Poolesville then they recruited a lot of Confederate soldiers, and I'm cool with that, but they paid $2 more. So for that, he sold his soul to the Confederacy. But that's the story I got. But anyway, that's a good book. That's a good book, and that was his excuse, and he's sticking to it, even though he's been dead for 100 years. But anyway, this is on the land where I live, and that's the chimney. That's the red stone that I talked about, and my wife and I, we tramped through there. But that house that burned down, the only thing that's left is the chimney. Oh, shameless plug again. There I am. And I guess it's kind of faded green a little bit, but it stands as sort of a monument. As a monument because it has been said, and I can't authenticate it, but Poolesville is right along the river, Potomac River, So part of the Underground Railroad extended through this area, Sugar Land, and as you know, the Underground Railroad was just a group of safe houses, places where the slaves could stay. And there is a cave that apparently slaves hid on this property that I never could find. But at any rate, that's what I was told, and it seems to me that, it's probably possible because of the convenience of the river there. Okay. This is William Taylor II. This is my grandpa. And I lived with him growing up. I lived with my grandfather. That's how close we were. He's the second. And if you're wondering how he got to be the second, because his dad was George Taylor. William Taylor I, who established 2 communities in Poolesville, by the way. The other one was the church on 109, I think, right now. It has converted to, I think, a Spanish group right on the corner. But that's another church. I think my great-grandfather's buried over there. But anyway, this is William Taylor II. He's the grandson. He's the actual grandson of the founder of that community. Okay. This is the better picture of him in 1960. So we're coming to the end. Anyway, this is a picture of my grandfather. And he was I'm proud to say he was the first person to throw a baseball to me. He was very, very proud to have a grandson after having daughters and granddaughters. And I think he had 9 sisters, So when I was born, he said, finally, somebody to play ball with. But anyway, there's a picture of my grandmother, the Ms. Genevieve Mason, and my grandfather, and my oldest son. So I put them in there, or Faith put them in the videos to just show the connection. So it's just not like we're talking about obscure heroes, African American heroes. We're talking about heroes that we can touch because they're right here, and just up the road. You want to see the church? Go up the road. You want to see the church in Martinsburg? Go right down the road. The communities are here. The impact is here. And so many of the young people who did come from these communities went to the high school and did very well. But apparently they just left. So they're more or less dried up. But yeah, we should be proud here in Poolesville for a lot of reasons. Is that the last one? Oh, there's a sign again. But we should be proud because we are reflected, and I say we, because whether you're white or whether you're black, to have that information, to have those things on the National Mall, to have bricks from Seneca Quarry, to have signs, to have a legacy like that. Oh yeah, and this book, I'm sorry, I thought that was the last slide. It was not. Link's dad, Ray Hoeing, did this excellent book, and it's not in print anymore, but he, if you can get a hold of a copy of it, you can go through it, and it does gives you so much information about the African American communities in depth. And it's a surprise to people. I know that I have time constraints, but I just wanted to give you bits and pieces. I guess you can tell how excited I am to be able to speak about these communities and to speak about the relationship that we have with these communities today. And I feel very empowered when I do it. And I am so glad that Jim called 2 days ago.
I was on vacation.
But he knew, because he knew I could depend, he could depend on me, because I absolutely can depend on him.
Thank you.
For anything.
Yep.
Thank you for your attention. You're as polite and gracious as you could possibly be. I appreciate it.
So before you go, Skip, and thank you so much for that presentation. That was wonderful and just exactly what I was looking for. The commissioners, do you have any questions because I have a couple questions too that you always teach me a little something every time we get together, sometimes intentional, sometimes I'm just listening and learning. I did want to ask you though, were the communities of Dawsonville and Mount Carmel also potentially part of this in circulation of African American communities, or were they not?
Not to my knowledge.
Again, was Dawsonville? I thought they had some roots in a Black, African American community there that was called something else. Was it Williamsville or Williams? Anyway, I'm trying to put you on the spot. I'm just asking the question freely.
I've heard of Dawsonville, but it was a blip.
Yeah, right, exactly.
We were out.
Couple houses.
And I think that that was the same thing as Mount Ephraim for a while.
Right.
But the other communities had churches, they had schools, they had, in Sugar Land, they had a store. They actually had a store. And my mom, who's long passed away, she would have been 100 this year. I asked her how she did when she was here visiting her grandmother, how things were. She loved it. Mm-hmm. She said, except for when it got dark, because there was no electricity. No electricity. Can you imagine Poolesville? No electricity and no running water. But they used and they used the stream and whatnot like that. You did what you had to do. But she loved being out here in Poolesville.
Any questions from the commissioners?
No, I had a comment though.
Sure.
And so, just Skip, I want to publicly thank you, not just for today, but I've watched you for a number of years since the time I moved out here. and your relentless effort to impact the lives of young people, regardless of what they look like, regardless of how much trouble they've gotten themselves into for the poor choices they might have made. You've been a champion behind the scenes, and I've been able to even see the work that we've done closely with some of those same kids. And so I just hope everyone understands what a gem Skip is for us to have here in Poolesville, because he never looks for recognition, but he's always that voice advocating for kids. Even when they screw up, he's out there when he's at the high school. And if you look at the number of years in the high school, which is a second career, because he served his community and law enforcement prior to coming out here, and where he could have easily said, I'm going to hang out in Sugar Land, sip on some tea and relax, he's constantly and consistently advocating for kids. I'm sure it's right. Some kid you advocating for today at the high school.
He didn't. He called in sick.
All right. So let's give it up for Skip.
Yeah. And Faith too. Thank you, Faith, for setting this up. Appreciate it.
I'll take care of that.
So just to be sure for the people that are out there still listening to this, and Skip, again, I sit at the foot of you every single time when you want to teach me something and tell me something. I'm always there for you. You know that, and I appreciate you very much. Town of Poolesville. This is a day, right? We're having a meeting today, and we only have one more in February, so we have to do what we can to recognize how we can recognize, but. I'm very proud of this board, as well as Link and our Fair Access Committee, for the steps that we've taken to recognize our African American communities, past and present. And just, it should go without, we need to make sure we mention this. In this past year alone, we worked hand in hand with the folks that created the lynching memorial. That was a big deal. If you read the Washington Post, there's towns throughout the country that are fighting this. And I give our community a ton of credit for embracing it, recognizing it, learning from it, and working with the people that were going to help us provide that recognition. The Rosenwald sign, Fair Access, Link again, working very, very hard to have a sign placed at the Rosenwald School to have that be recognized. Now, I'm on record right now, but I'm a little worried because they've given us so much pushback on it that it makes me think they have something else planned for that building that they're not telling us. And they don't necessarily, because if you put a sign up, the building's got to stick around.
I think Link just spoke to him at the dinner.
Yeah, I'm sure he busted on them pretty good on that. I will also say, too, as Skip alluded to, the Rosenwald School that's at the beauty spot has super tall windows in it, right? Because there was no electricity, and they had to learn by daylight. And I've been inside that building. The chalkboard is still in there that was used during the time when it was used. Our 150th celebration here, which is up there, we made sure probably for the first time to recognize our historic black communities in this area and make sure that they knew that they were a part of our community and a valuable part of our community. We recently had the Historic Medley Group hosted a forum on the desegregation of Poolesville, which was a great forum and very interesting and well done, guest speakers, well put together, leading up to the 10 Days of September documentary that was prepared by Poolesville High School student Joey Gearing, which was very impactful, told the story of the desegregation of Poolesville High School and the heroes that made that huge step forward to fight off really evil that was trying to stop Poolesville from being integrated. Great documentary. When we talk about the integration of Poolesville and the heroes that came in and were that integrated Poolesville High School, I think all of us, Fair Access, Town Commissioners, Link, et cetera, we're all fighting to make sure that there's recognition, and thanks to Skip, too, who twists my ear on it pretty much every time I see him, but to have a plaque that commemorates those students that were truly trailblazers and heroes for our community, that stepped up despite awful opposition to integrate Poolesville High School. We've also fought for in Fair Access to have the football field when the new high school is christened to have the football field named after Howard Lyles, who was an instrumental African-American in the integration days, as well as a teacher and a coach and a mentor and a very important person in Poolesville. So the reason why I'm bringing all this up is because this isn't just one day. It's not our meeting here. It didn't start at 5 after 7 and have this conclude at this point. Poolesville, I'm very proud of, and I'm very proud of my fellow board members, has embraced the fact that we've got a very important community that needs to be not just recognized but remembered. And we've got more to come. We've got some street names that are going to take place that I think are going to be appropriate. We're going to be replacing ones that don't need to be there with potentially ones that do need to be there as time goes on, and we've got a bunch of other things in progress. So I want to say thanks to the board. You can see what our accomplishments are, been lined up. Our work's not done. I don't know if it'll ever be done. And that's how I wanted to kick off Black History Month. So thank you for that, Skip, Faith. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Faith.
Really appreciate you guys. All right, very good. Thanks everybody for your time on that. Appointments to boards and commissions. Next thing on our list, Wade or Niles, you want to lean in on that?
No, sure. We have 2 existing members, Adam Sroka and Link Hoeing, that Link didn't want to come back and do it again, but we talked him into it.
Okay, good. Thank goodness.
I'm true than that.
Link, you need to stick around.
Yeah. Don't let him speak.
Yes. So they both need to just be reappointed to the Fair Access Committee.
Right, and so we have to go through formal vote for that?
Correct.
So we have 2 members that need to be both nominated through a motion and then through a second, and then we can have a vote on that.
So I motion that, do you want to do one at a time, or are we going to do both?
Same, both fine.
All right, so I motion that both Link Hoeing and Adam Soroka be appointed to the Fair Access Committee.
We'll go with reappointed. And then, do we have a second?
Yeah, I second that.
You second it, Sarah?
You're not getting out.
Yeah, Sarah seconds it. Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. Any other comments from the commissioners on that?
Just that Link is amazing, and Poolesville is so lucky to have him. He works tirelessly.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Totally agree.
I can obviously vouch for Link. I've worked with him, and he's wonderful. But I don't know much about Adam Soroka. But if I'll take your guys' word for it, is he someone that we should reappoint?
He's showing up to all the meetings, and
He's participated where he's been needed too, and kicks in information when requested. So, yeah, I'd say he fills a certain role and does it well.
Good deal.
Would you guys agree with that? Yeah. Okay, so we have a motion and a second for reappointment of Link and Adam. All in favor of those reappointments, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None? Thank you. Thanks, Jeff, for that. Appreciate it, too. They've been reappointed by a vote of 5-0. So now we have 2 openings, correct, under access? Mm-hmm. And we potentially have John Woltz, who I guess is going to apply. Huh, John? Put you on the spot. Okay, good. And so we'll be filling 2 positions, maybe one with John, as we come a little closer to that. So
Right, so we're turning over those, I think it'll be 4 applicants. We'll be turning that over to the committee, and the committee will make a recommendation to the commissioners.
okay, good for the committee. Okay, let's see how that goes. Thanks a lot. And I guess we'll be acting on the Fair Access Committee will be acting on that in between this meeting and the next, and then our next meeting we'll have a presentation and a vote potentially with the recommendations. Okay, very good.
Quick question, did we have
Yes, sir.
some resignations on the Fair Access Committee?
Not
was some
resignations,
empty
just
spots?
lack of they didn't, their terms ran out.
Yeah.
Okay,
And they chose not
Thank
to reapply.
Right, chose not to
okay,
reapply.
okay.
We thank them for their service. So let's, and that is Kevin Schramm and it's Maria McGuire, right? Yeah, so two members that have done a great job and been very helpful. I mean, Kevin we're still going to lean on him for muster and for our different missives out to the community. And Maria has been a very good contributor too, very solid, has been, very helpful on whenever asked. So, yeah, we're going to miss those 2 guys. Kevin's one of our founding members too, right? Yeah, so sad to see Kevin go, but he's paid his dues. And what committees is he left on now? He just Poolesville Day, right?
Just Poolesville.
Oh my gosh, what a slacker!
Just Poolesville.
Just Poolesville Day. That's all. Okay. All right, well, all right, Kevin, you get to take a little break then, I guess. I mean, what does he do the rest of the year after third Saturday in September, right?
Starts preparing for the next.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Fair enough. Kevin, if you're listening, thanks again, doing a great job. Appreciate you big time. Okay, very good. So thanks for that and the reappointments. We've moved on from that, and we'll deal with fair access 2 weeks from now again with the recommendations from the Fair Access Committee on the replacements. All right, commissioners' announcements and committee reports. Martin, are you ready to jump up there? Or are you?
Yeah, I don't have any announcements, and for my committee report, the Planning Commission will not meet again until a week from Wednesday. But I have learned from Wade and Niles that the comprehensive plan continues to move forward. Apparently at this point, the work from the Planning Commission at this point has been done. We're waiting on Wallace Montgomery, the consultant, to do a few things. And again, I'll refer to you guys
It's going to happen this
when
week.
we might get this.
This week it'll be out and be able to put it out to the boards and committees and set a public hearing next week.
Like this week, we'll see it.
Yes.
Wow. The White Rabbit.
Hold up your right hand. You swear on the Bible.
Yes.
Pull that out of my hat, just like.
So Martin, what you're saying is, how many years has this been now? It's been several years, right? Since
Well,
Wallace Montgomery first did the survey back in the day. We agreed to hire him, then they did the survey, then the Planning Commission started to meet.
And COVID just probably threw it off a little bit, towards the end of COVID, but it's probably been 18 months.
Close, 18 to 2 years, it's right there.
Yeah.
So it's time, right?
It's time. We put a lot of work into it. I'm ready for it.
I'm sure you have. I'm sure you have.
I'm excited for this.
Right, ready to deliver the baby.
Yep.
So let's end the gestation period. Let's do it. Thank you for that. Thank you. It's been delayed. No, we guys have been working very hard on this. We know.
The analogy.
I know. Got it. I'm ready to go. Where's
that?
that baby?
Yeah, exactly. Moving right along.
Yeah. Thank you for helping clean that up. Okay. Other committee reports.
All right, fair access.
Yeah.
Our primary focus is getting the community center approved and funded in the budget hearings coming up. We have worked, and when I say we, I mean mostly Link has been amazing, and then the rest of us are there when we can, has met with the 7 council members, and 7 different county council members, and we are feeling very solid about their support. There are 11 total county council members, so we feel like we have the numbers that we need to move this through, and we also have the support of the county executive. So we're excited about that. We had a muster email request that went out asking folks in the community to support the community center, and they have received somewhere around 115 emails so far, which is fantastic, and we're hearing from the county council members about what a big impact that has. They don't usually receive that big of a response from community members, so keep that up. That's wonderful. We also have been working to get on board the Poolesville Area Chamber of Commerce and Link, along with the county executive, Andrew Friedson, Natalie Fenny Gonzalez, Marilyn Balcom, and Evan Glass, all attended the most recent Chamber of Commerce gathering last week at, I think it was Cross Mines, and are all on board and supportive of the community center. And then tomorrow evening is a really big deal. Link, along with representatives from WUMCO, a student from Poolesville High School, the seniors here in Poolesville, will all be testifying before the council regarding the need for the community center. And we are also working with Riverworks to testify for their county grant. Before the grant for the council for their Arts and Performing Arts Center on February 7th. And welcome support from any community member who wants to be a part of either the hearings tomorrow night or the meeting on February 7th as well.
Is that it for you?
That's it.
All right, good. Martin, you wanted to do one more?
I forgot one thing. Jeff, Jim, and I attended the St. Peter's solar panel dedication last Sunday, was it?
Yes, last
Yeah,
Sunday.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
apparently a good deal of the electricity that they use is going to be provided by solar or through solar. So that was a good
Yeah.
thing, and it's a high visibility location. You can see it as you drive by, and so we were there. So that's my announcement.
Yeah, no, that was great. Thank you for bringing that up. It was good seeing Jeff there, too. Okay, good. Thanks for that, Martin. Back over to you, Ed.
Sure, all right, and so, looking at Sustainable Poolesville, we met last week, and so a couple of things we looked at. I don't know if you all remember Jason Woodman. He's a Poolesville resident. He's a Eagle Scout. And so he had his Eagle Scout, and if you know his work with the pollinator garden, that's doing great. But he has another project that he's doing, and it's there are three things. There are three projects. There's a tree drop, a fish line, and a wood box building. And he's pursuing what's called the Boy Scouts of America National Distinguished Conservation Award, and not too many of those are given out. And so I would tell you, stay tuned and look at the work he's done. I know one of the fish lines you can actually see over there near the middle school where that pond is. And so instead of people who can't snag their line and they throw the line on the ground, you can dispose your line right there in this tube that he has there. But he's doing a lot of great work looking at the tree drops and the wood box buildings. He's worked with Preston, has really given him some great support. But looking at this young man, not only the work that he's doing, but it sets an example for other scouts to look at the possibilities of what they can do to help strengthen our community. So he's doing a great job. He came out and presented his projects to us. Then we also have, at the next meeting, we have a gentleman from the Sustainable Maryland will be coming over doing a sustainability training, and that's really to help work on the recertification of our sustainability certification that we have. So you have exciting things happening. We also had a discussion, I brought up the composting, and Martin, you asked about that at our last commissioners meeting. And so one of the things that seems to be a little complicated is having a central drop-off. And so we're really revisiting what are some of those options. And so we'll be reaching out to different organizations that do composting to share with us what they provide, how does that work, and then once we have enough information, we'll come back and then talk to the commissioner and say, hey, this is what we found out about composting and what it might look like here in Poolesville. And last but not least, the Pick It Up Poolesville campaign is still going strong. There's been a lot of work over at the high school because there seems like there's some folks who like to hang out at the very end of the parking lot dumping things that they don't need to be dumping over there, at like alcohol cans and so forth. And so that committee is really working hard to address that issue. All right, that's it.
Great. Thank you, Link. Thank you, Ed, for that. I appreciate it. I was reading Link's name when I said that. Just on my side, again, I want to thank all the commissioners. There's a lot of, the community sees us here at the meetings and at various Poolesville forums and different things we do in town. But just as an example to talk about what it's like, we're worth every cent we're paid. And we have and we work hard for the community because we're showing up to things that have made a difference, again, through Fair Access. Thanks again, Link, but for the rest of us, too. Just for an example, Link and I are going to be hosting a fundraiser for Lorianne Sales coming up, who's running for Congress. And that's going to be at Locals on February 28th. And you ask, okay, why would we pay for this out of pocket? And we are. Fair Access isn't paying for it. But we've got a council member that's running for Congress that has been very, very supportive of Poolesville. And we're hopeful she wins, but even if she doesn't, you're talking about somebody that is instrumental in votes at county council for the things that we need county council to do for us. So it's a way for us to show support. So if you're not doing anything on February 28th, please come to Locals, support Lorianne Sales. I'm not saying that anything bad against the other candidates. We've got other good candidates out there, but we know Lorianne has stood up for us. On the same note, I think all of the commissioners did all of us go to David Trone's breakfast?
Yes.
I think Jeff was in it.
Yeah, Jeff, I don't know if Jeff, you were, yeah. So David Trone had a legislative breakfast in which he, yes, there was some campaigning that went on, but what it came down to was he was soliciting information and issues and ideas from our community. He looks at, this is a big deal. We've gone from being an afterthought, for the most part, to a community that gets recognition from highest level elected officials that have now linked us into, and I'm not saying it wasn't this way before, but it's the way it is now. These elected officials, this is a person who's running for Senate, looks at his home district as Germantown, Rockville, and Poolesville. Gaithersburg, Germantown, Rockville, and Poolesville. That's his home district. Was Poolesville ever in that discussion before? No, they weren't.
I doubt it.
So here we are, where we have, we've evened the playing field in terms of our representation in the Ag Reserve and up in this region. We absolutely need federal money. We need county money. We've had a lack of investment, and it's catch-up time. And so when we have a chance to meet with people like David Trone and have support people like Lord Ann Sales, these are big deals for us, and it just shows the impact of what we've done. Obviously, we've driven hundreds of millions of dollars to this region of investment that has not taken place over the past many years before that. It's these meetings and the dedication by these commissioners on their own time. What was that, a Sunday morning or a Saturday morning? I can't remember.
Sunday morning.
Sunday morning to get up and go do that. It was important, but he was sincere about trying to find out what we were up to and what we needed, so I appreciate that. Link and I tomorrow morning are meeting at Poolesville High School at 6:55 in the morning to get a tour of the high school and to learn a little bit more about the how the students are going to be moving into the new section, eyeball it firsthand. I think our advocacy for the Poolesville High School is never going to end until it's fully moved in and there's been a dedication that's taken place and that all the punch list is done even after all that's over with. So fair access, congratulations, keep working hard. We still need it. It's going to go on for a while, but tomorrow we actually get a chance to really get caught up, and then that's going to help us from commissioners and a fair access standpoint chart our advocacy on the continuation and the finishing of Poolesville High School the right way. So that's just a little step up of the kind of the fun stuff that we've been doing as commissioners and as fair access. And again, appreciate everybody's dedication to the cause. All right, very good. We have public comment. Anybody sign up?
You got Jeff.
Oh, Jeff, I'm sorry. Jeff, I keep looking over there and your seat's empty. Are you ready to give us your Parks report, Ed? That's what you're doing.
Yes, I am.
Okay, give us your Parks report and anything else you have. Thank you.
Well, I'll give you my announcements first.
Yes.
So along with Commissioner Ed Reed, I attended the Chamber of Commerce event that took place on Thursday at Crosslines. And there was a very good representation from Montgomery County. We had County Executive Mark Elrich, his Executive Assistant Dale Tibbetts. So I understand, and maybe Ed can clarify, that Mr. Tibbetts has a new role, a new responsibility that will include our area. Is that correct, Ed?
Right, that's correct. So Dale Tibbetts, he's also taken the role that Greg Wims was playing as an up-county representative, as well as his previous duty. So he's going to have dual duties.
Right, excellent. Thank you, Ed. And we also had Marilyn Balcone was present, Evan Glass, Andrew Friedson, and Natalie Fanny Gonzalez. So it was really good representation. And we also had, who else was there? No, that was it. So, and also Gail Lee was awarded the Community Service Award from the Chamber of Commerce for all of her hard work on the 5K, past chairwoman of the Poolesville Area Chamber of Commerce, the monthly Businesses Helping Businesses Grow events that Gail and Jeff Stempler host, and many more hours of dedication. And on top of all of that good news, Link Hoeing did a wonderful job of giving an update regarding the Fair Access Committee and an update on the successes of the Fair Access Committee, and also he outlined the remaining projects. And Link also gave us a bit of a preview or a brief preview of the Grinch regarding the progress, or maybe it's a lack of progress in the reopening White's Ferry. But I understand from brief mentions from County Executive Elrich that something is happening, but I don't know. He wouldn't say what it was or anything, so maybe we should follow up with him quickly. Also, part of my announcements, the Upper Montgomery County Volunteer Fire Station is having a beef and fried oyster dinner on Sunday, February the 25th from noon until 5. The full dinner, including beef and oysters and side dishes, is $35. If you don't like oysters, Then the full dinner, including side dishes, is $25. So please put that down on your calendar. Again, that's Sunday, February the 25th from noon until 5. I also have my announcements here. The Poolesville seniors are hosting the Heart and Soul Gala on Saturday, February the 24th at 6:30, and that's going to be at the pavilion, the St. Mary's Pavilion in Barnesville. And I've attended that several times. It's always a great event, and of course, a very active community from the Poolesville Seniors Club. Also, the Upper Montgomery County Fire Station is offering 2 CPR classes. The first one is Saturday, February the 10th at 9 o'clock. There are still a few spots that are open. And then again, Saturday, February 17th at 9 o'clock. And again, there's still some spots open. The fee is $55 per student. And you can register at umcvfd.org/CPR. And I think it was already mentioned that I attended the dedication of the solar panels at St. Peter's Church in Poolesville on Sunday, the 28th of January, along with Commissioner Radigan and Commissioner Jim Reed. And I also had Montgomery County Councilwoman Marilyn Balcom. Marilyn is like a superstar. She it really makes a difference when you show up. As what someone said one time, was 80% of life is showing up. Anyway, and also State Representative Lily Chi and David Fraser Hidalgo were there as well. So St. Peter's Church is excited to harness the power of the sun to reduce its carbon footprint and contribute to a greener future. Also coming up, the Poolesville Area Chamber of Commerce is going to hold a ribbon cutting for the new, I think it's called Top Gym, Saturday, February the 10th, so that's coming up at 10 o'clock. Everyone is encouraged to attend and welcome the newest member to the Poolesville Fitness community. Top Gym is right near the M&T Church. I think it's in between M&T and Cugini, so right along there. And I also attended the ribbon cutting, Poolesville Area Chamber of Commerce ribbon cutting at Deer Valley Farm. That took place on January the 10th. Deer Valley Farm Market, I was surprised at all the products that they have in there, a wide variety of meats, all sorts of different jellies, coffees, baked goods, and so much more. And it's all from local growers, so you can go in there and talk with the owners, and they give preference to local growers and local producers, so give that if you get a chance, go in there and take a look. I also wrote down here, but I think was already mentioned, the fundraiser for Lori Ann Sales. She's running for a seat in the Congressional District number 6, and that is on February the 28th at 5:30. So Jim, those are not my announcements. If you want, I can go directly into
Yes, sir. Please do. Thank you.
my Parks Board report. Okay, so I got, okay, so the Parks Board the meeting was held on January the 3rd. And one of the topics has always been pickleball. So pickleball, a citizen noted to Town Manager Niles a safety concern regarding pickleball at Helmos Park in conjunction with tennis. The concern was regarding potential confusion of the pickleball lines that are painted on the tennis courts. The tennis lines are white and the pickleball lines are blue. And while it's not ideal, it does allow for dual use of the courts, and Niall is going to, re-invite, because the resident wasn't actually at the meeting, so he's going to re-invite the resident to attend the next Parks Board meeting, which is, I think, Wednesday. Also, we had a resident, Mr. Norm Spencer, again, commenting on pickleball. The courts are shared with tennis and pickleball. Generally, the pickleball courts are blue, and the tennis court lines are white. And the pickleball and tennis courts on a given is confusing for pickleball players and tennis players. Each group prefers to have dedicated courts for tennis or dedicated courts for pickleball. So I don't know, that's an ongoing debate. Mr. Spencer further noted that Montgomery County also paints both white lines on the tennis court and blue lines for the pickleball on the same court to allow for dual use. He also mentioned that the Maryland Senior Pickleball Olympics were held at the Germantown Tennis Complex, where pickleball lines were painted on top of the tennis courts. Preston King noted that several residents have mentioned they prefer dedicated tennis courts, dedicated pickleball courts. Currently, Helmos Park is mostly tennis, and Stevens Park is mostly pickleball. Yeah, so that doesn't seem to help any. Anyway, Niles, Assistant Town Manager Niles Endirect sent out a survey recently on February 2nd Niles has several responses that he's received already, but he's going to share the rest of that, I guess, at the next Parks Board meeting on Wednesday the 7th. And then there was discussion of trails. So feedback from the commissioners was to form an informal group, not a formal public working group, to keep progress on moving forward quickly with on the trails. There was a resident, Mr. Thomas McCaskill, inquired that it was at the Parks meeting, inquired regarding the plans for a street and a bowl regarding being added to the skate park. And Niles gave an update that the street portion is moving ahead with design and permitting, and the intention is to have work commence on the street portion of skate park possibly by next summer. And currently there is less progress on the bowl portion of the skate park, although Niles is working on grants. Also, there was a follow-up regarding the security at the skate park, and the town attorney provided the following. That's Jay Golo, he's on here somewhere. Provided the following on security cameras. They are permitted on public property. Cameras are permitted when focused only on public property, and they cannot record sound, and there must be a notice that there must be a notice posted that the cameras are present, and that notice must be adequate signage. Preston notes that the issues like vandalism and inappropriate behavior are generally not caused by the skaters, they're caused by other people. Important issues regarding cameras, the question is enforcement. Preston noted that Montgomery County Police is not going to come over Poolesville and enforce the issue of the spray painting and vandalism, that kind of thing. So, and there was also issues regarding, well, who has access to the video, who might be reviewing the video, what's the town doing with the video if the cameras were present, and what is done if there is an issue, who is enforcing, and so on. There's more questions than there are answers. Niles did some research with other jurisdictions regarding security cameras, and he uncovered the issue of supervision. What constitutes supervision? In other words, is someone monitoring this? If something is going to happen, will be immediate reaction to that, which is unlikely. But again, there's a lot more questions than there are answers. Also, the idea was floated about providing a live feed of the cameras, similar to what you might see if you click on some of the live feed traffic cameras that are, around Montgomery County. Also, a follow-up on the sidewalk priorities. So certainly Wooten to Spurrier, that's going to be done by Montgomery County for the high school completion. Norris Road, that little piece of, Norris Road's not that long, but that does not have a sidewalk. Fisher Avenue to Hirschberger, that area along there, right along 107. There's no sidewalk along there whatsoever. It's really quite dangerous because the traffic, once they kind of get past that speed camera near the church, then it's all bets are off. So the traffic goes much faster. Main streets in Poolesville, like Wooten Avenue and Fisher Avenue, anything near the three schools, the Parks Board definitely felt they should all have sidewalks on both sides of the streets. Patrick Trainer is going to work on a draft of the full sidewalk list. Let's see here, what else I got here. Stop sign recommendation for the intersection of Butler Road and Bodmer Avenue. Study was performed from December the 19th until January the 2nd, which would pointed out that was really kind of a holiday time, and there might not be the relevant level of traffic that we really want to look at. So anyway, there was data collected. There were 4,451 trips, an average of 300 daily trips. Average speed on West Woodward was 19.4, so that's obviously at or below the speed limit. Based on the data, there's no excessive speeding in the area. Only 13% of the traffic was over the speed limit. So given that 85% is below the speed limit on this road, staff does not recommend installing speed humps. Going to make this a little bit shorter. Superintendent of Parks and Streets report, so that's Preston. The holiday lights look absolutely fantastic. And as Preston mentioned during the last Parks Board meeting, that he was hoping to leave the lights up until it snowed. And and it definitely snowed, so good for you, Preston. It looked fantastic with the white snow, so that was excellent. Preston's team is building a heated structure over the PFAS filters to avoid the issue of cold weather freezing. Snow removal is in place in the anticipation of more, this of course back in December. And Preston has new snow removal drivers that will get some practice. Wade and Niles are working on hiring an additional person for Preston's team. Hopefully by January, a new person will be, I think a part-time position will be on board. This is interesting. So Preston's teams pick up trash around the town every single day, and we may not notice that because they do such a good job of keeping everything clean. But Preston mentioned that his team does a lot of work to pick up the trash, and he noted an anecdote that every day there are two reliable persons, one which he refers to as the scratch-off person, and every day there's a pile of scratch-off lottery tickets in the same place, and he picks them up. The other person he kindly referred to as the Smirnoff person, and every day there's an empty Smirnoff bottle, again, up in the same place, and Preston's team picks it up. So congratulations to those two people for having a nice, polite name to them. Anyway, and also Niles, Preston asked Niles to look into the possibility of a pollinator patch near the swale on Stearns Court. And the next park board meeting is on February the 7th. The agenda is going to include pickleball, imagine that, working trails, skate park security. Also a stop sign. Also the Parks Board would like to produce a stop sign policy, just so we don't have stop signs like, growing up like corn stalks everywhere. And adding a pollinator patch along Stearns Court, as I mentioned, and then that's it. So, love, Jeff. That's it. Over and out.
All right, Jeff, thanks.
Everybody there? Y'all went to sleep?
That was a heck of a report, Jeff. Thank you. And we're gonna, right, no, anybody who's listening about their Smirnoff bottle, we need to find a proper home for that so our guys don't have to deal with that. Anyway, thank you, Jeff. That was great. Very thorough, too, as well. So, public comment, I've got all these people signed up for it, but I think that everybody is related to their budget presentation that's on it, with the exception of Jerry. So, Jerry, are you wanting to come up and comment in general? Do you want to come up after the budget presentations? Do you want to before? I yield to you as a former commissioner. When do you want to speak? And what do you want to speak about?
I'm going to do something I normally don't do. I'm going to exercise patience and wait till everybody else speaks.
Okay, very good. Thank you for that. I figured that might be the case, so thank you for.
I couldn't hear. Was it pickleball?
I don't drink vodka, so it's not like that.
That's right, not you. Right. I didn't notice. I didn't try to tie that in. Okay, good. Thanks, Jerry. You can definitely speak after the other budget presentations, and I figured that might be the case, so no worries there. Approval of the minutes for the January 16th meeting, the only meeting that we had in January. Anybody have any questions or comments before we make a motion? Let's have a motion.
I motion to approve the minutes from our January 16th meeting.
I'll second.
Motion has been made by Sarah for the approval of the minutes for January 16th, 2024 meeting, second by Martin. Any questions from the commissioners? Jeff, anything from you on those? Not forgetting you the rest of the night, buddy.
Would you like to hear more about pickleball?
Not today.
Oh, well, we're just about out of time. So, okay, but thank you for that. All right, commissioners, all those in favor of approve the minutes for January 16, 2024, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? None. The motion's been approved 5-0 by the commissioners. Old business, we don't have anything located on that, nothing else nothing that's popped up? Nope. Okay, very good. So, basically, for the balance of our meeting, with the exception of the town manager's report, we're going to be receiving budget grant requests. And just to give you some quick background, the commissioners, I know you guys all know this already, but so we're entertaining your grant request tonight. We have no idea. We met today for 2 hours. As my job as the president of the town commissioners to kind of shape up the budget, but we really didn't have any grant discussions in the shaping up of it. We talked about infrastructure and some of the bigger goals of the town, et cetera. So I just want to let you know that tonight we listen. and the commissioners take it under consideration. We'll have a budget work session that Wade's going to talk about later on today. That's going to be held sometime in March. That will be a public meeting where we're going to discuss both, the big ticket items, the grants, and we're also going to have a discussion with, and Martin and I had a brief discussion on this today. We're going to have a little more of a clarity discussion on how the grants are applied for and the amounts and who slides into what budget and, where do we go in terms of supporting community groups, et cetera. So it'll be more, not about policy, but more about clarity, I'd say, than anything else. So just to let you know that, and let the audience know that too, up front. That's how we're going to do it. So, but in brief terms, the budget looks pretty good. So we'll just leave it at that for now. We've got some challenges, not saying we're not going to have a tax increase, but it's something that we're all going to talk about as commissioners as we roll through the next couple months. So is that my setting it up enough to say that we might have a tax increase?
That was pretty good. I was glad to see that.
Okay. It's gonna be up to the 5 people behind the booth here and also Jeff to have more commentary on that. So it's up to you guys on that one. All right, so very good. So first up, we have the Historic Medley budget update. I'm not sure who's doing that presentation or if there is one for that.
No, Maureen Conway was supposed to show up, and I don't see her here.
Great. Do you want to review? What's that?
Next week.
Okay.
So we have time for her, and we'll give her another shot at that, no problem.
she's fine
And
doing it.
Historic Medley has been a very, good partner to the town of Poolesville, and we'll look forward to hearing that. They've got I don't want to say too much more than this, but they have a long list of accomplishments as well as improvements to Old Town Hall that they're going to want to talk about, and future funding as well.
I'll make contact with her and get her set up.
Okay, good, thank you. Yeah, please do. All right, Poolesville Chamber of Commerce grant request. Tom Kettler is here. New Poolesville resident, Tom Kettler. He has returned. The prodigal son has returned.
One for you, one for you.
Thank you.
One for you.
Did you laugh at that, Link? Who laughed?
Fight over it.
Oh, me.
So we'll give it to Matt.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Pay taxes and ask you to spend something tonight for him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's right, thank you.
Tom Kettler, 17917 Elgin Road, Poolesville Area Chamber of Commerce President. Thank you all for providing time for me tonight to present. First, a couple side notes. I do want to thank Jeff and Ed, and I know other commissioners who were busy last week, but we did have a great annual meeting / dinner Thursday night at Crossvines, and I won't, you guys have covered it before, but again, it was just, as I told everybody, it exceeded my expectations, because a month ago, I was terrified that it would be me and 3 other people standing in the room. We had a great turnout from our county council. Mark Elridge left when I left. He was like the last one there. so
Amazing. That's
that
awesome.
That was great, and I really see the chamber, working in concert with the town and in concert with Fair Access to really raise the profile of this area. So I feel very good about that.
Good job.
And our 150 chamber members also are part of that. I know Jeff plugged it, but I'll plug again. There's a ribbon cutting, certainly all the commissioners invited to Saturday morning at Top Gym, which is our newest business. It's just opening up. Didn't even know it was there until about a week ago, so now it's on the radar screen, and we'll be there at 10 o'clock Saturday morning. And I have my scissors and my ribbon, so we're all set.
Next to Kajini's.
Between Kajini's and M&T's, kind of wedged in there. Also, on the
10 o'clock.
sidebar, I do want to thank the town staff and report out that the outdoor map project that we've been working on, the chamber's been working on for the last 3 or 4 months, is almost complete. And thanks to Niles for giving us some of Preston's guys for part of a day, and they installed the outdoor signs at Wayland's, the high school, the ferry, Lewis's, some of the parks. So they're out there now with the map dispensers and the updated maps with the to tie into the paper map that we put out 6 months ago. So, and then we ended up getting a grant from Heritage Montgomery for that. So that project ended up being about a zero cost
to the chamber, which we were excited about after we got the grant from Heritage of Montgomery. Tonight, you have the grant in front of you, and they've got a lot on your agenda. We are the chamber, by way of history, is put out a community and service business and community directory for a number of years, and the chamber was debating the last couple months as to whether we want to proceed with it, because it's a lot of work, it's a lot of energy. We've got to get advertising from our chamber members who are tapped all the time for donations and all kinds of stuff. So we thought that, and we know the town is working on economic development through fair access and through other venues. So we thought it might be the appropriate time to come and ask for a grant for $7,500. I think the grant itself is pretty self-explanatory. But part of the idea with this directory is that we were looking at maybe cutting the directory back and just making the business listings. But we felt the feedback I got from people is that they really like, even though not everybody's in the directory and you have the option to be in or out of the directory, the community listing part is important for people. So we said, okay, we'll keep that. But again, we got to pay for this thing. So printing has gone up, as you all know. Everything else has gone up with everything else. So we also, last time we did this 2 years ago, we cut down the distribution of it because it cost, the printing had gone up so much. So we're now, with this grant, we're hoping to expand out the distribution. We do it by bulk mail. So we're hoping to, last time we knocked out Boyd's, which is a fairly large zip code. We knocked them out of the distribution. We'd like to add them back in. I went up to Boyd's today to find out how many mailboxes they have up there, and they have almost as many, well, actually more than the Poolesville zip code if you've got Boyd's, because the tentacles go out to kind of the edges of Germantown. So again, we represent, as you all know, we represent the western part of Montgomery County, not just Poolesville, but the whole surrounding area. So, but I'd be happy to answer any questions relative to our request. We're hoping to do the directory. I mean, it's a timing issue because I know you all can't make your grant allocations right away. So we're going to be a little bit of we may start the work and then have to decide how wide we go in distribution based on whether or not the grant.
Well, what is the time frame that you need to have the money by?
We'll probably we're hoping to go to press somewhere around the May, June timeframe. And I know the budget's approved officially in what?
July 1.
Well, it's funded July 1. We certainly could, it's one of those funding issues that we can front fund it, and obviously it comes back. But the decision itself, the budget itself is passed, in
April, early May.
Yeah. So that would be in time for us to know how.
Understood.
Why the distribution.
Yeah, absolutely. We will, the commissioners will take that under consideration.
Yeah, because we'll end up, if we go the distribution route we want to go, we'll go from like 4,000 copies up to almost 8,000 copies. So, and that booklet is probably, and we will continue to sell, just to be clear, we will continue to sell advertising. We will, we see that obviously as a benefit to our members, but obviously it costs money to be in that, and obviously that helps fund the project. But we obviously have operating costs, and we don't want to lose money on the directory. We can't afford to lose money on the directory. So with that, I'll entertain any questions or any time you want to reach out to me with detailed information. I'd be happy to provide it. But
no, Tom, I'll let the commissioners ask questions, but I can tell you for a fact, I know it's a lot of work.
Yeah, right.
And I appreciate you guys putting it together. It's one of the, it's a marketing piece.
Right.
It's a little bit of everything for the community, so.
Yeah, we put it also in the bags too, so as these people come to town, they get a copy of it. And obviously it gets sent out to everybody. We also, the last issue that we did, if you go on the website now, we've just redone our website, which we kind of showed off at the dinner Thursday night. We have an online version of that. We never had it before, but there'll be a PDF version of it where we put all the information in there, although we back out the community listing for privacy reasons for our residents. So we just have the critical information in there. We also thought we could add a page in maybe for like the trash delivery schedule, things like that, which aren't in there now. But certainly if the town helps fund the project, I can work with Wade Niles and you all to, if you want to have a specific page of town information, we certainly be happy to include that, so.
I think the town map is like, that's the only place you can see that in a lot of times.
I take pride in
Something to be said
it. About
about
20
that.
years ago, I remember working on that, and
Yeah.
we stuck it in there, because I said, it's a great, because I pull that all the time, because I'm, figuring out where the heck is Gott Street and all these, running around town, so it's useful. It is interesting, I will, and it is sort of a generational thing. If you talk to somebody that in their 20s, they're like, why are you still doing this? We got my phone, but myself and people of my
Right.
age bracket,
Yeah.
Keep it, I've got one in my truck, I've got one in the home, I've got one in my office, so, it comes in handy. And I was very on the fence as to whether we want to keep doing it, but I think we had enough feedback that it's a worthwhile thing, and part of the reason why I'm here tonight asking to help fund it, so.
No, totally worthwhile as far as that goes, but we'll let the commissioners
Yeah.
talk about that. Any questions for Tom on his, on the budget request for the chamber? And the continued good work of the chamber, true partner to the town.
Thank
you
we're
for
very
that.
excited,
We
yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff happening.
Yeah, you guys, you've done a great job.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you for that. Anything else?
Oh, and
Commissioners?
thanks for
Tom?
Link. I meant to recognize Link did a fantastic job Thursday night representing fair access at the dinner. So that was great to have him step up there and address our group. Thanks.
Yeah, great. Well, he's our star power.
There he is.
So, thank you for that, Tom. Appreciate it. Good job. All right, very good. Next up, Poolesville Riverworks. Wow, do we have the next? Yeah, you're it, man. Unless you want to wait until after Jerry talks. Yeah, almost do. That's all right. Now he'll get his time. You're up next. Thank you for coming up, guys. Beautiful brochures, by the way. Yep, beautiful brochures.
Thank you.
Jeff, I didn't ask you if you had anything for Tom, so I didn't see you waving. You okay?
No, I just want to congratulate Tom on the fantastic annual event, and it was just, of course, a beautiful venue, really good turnout, excellent, and a really excellent turnout from Montgomery County. So it really went fabulously. Couldn't have gone better. Thanks.
Were you worn out from people asking where I was?
Nobody
He's like,
cared.
Jeff, he's like, no, nobody did.
Everyone wanted to know where's Jim Brown.
Yeah, not one person said that, I know, that's okay.
No, actually, they didn't know.
Yeah, it's all good, thank you, yeah. Good stuff. All right, you guys, Sandy and Dave here from Riverworks and Locals, and before we get started, you guys know you're a treasure for the town. Thank you so much for everything you've done with Locals. I know it's a lot of hard work to do what you've done. I'm understating that, I realize that, but it's been an amazing contribution to the town. And so you come here hat in hand, looking to do something, and tell us all about it.
All right. Actually, first, Sandy Wright, 17617 West Willard Ave, sometimes known as 17605 West Willard Ave, the Old Methodist Church. That's our address. David Terrio, same address. I just wanted to shout out, actually, on the chamber map, I can't keep those things in stock at Locals. I mean, they walk out of there like, I need more, Tom, so just to support,
Good.
it's a really valuable
Yeah, agreed.
tool for the town, I think. Okay, so thank you for letting us speak and in support of our grant request for the Performing Arts Center at that address where we live. Right in the heart of Poolesville's historic West End. We think you're all familiar with the details of renovating that church, so we actually aren't going to present what we plan to do, because I feel like you're familiar with that. I feel like I've already done that. But I'm happy to answer any questions if you want, and we gave you the brochure, which gives kind of a taste of the vision and the project. I just wanted to just kind of, support our request for the grant. We optimistically asked for a large grant from the town of Poolesville. The cost of building the Performing Arts Center with its indoor, outdoor stage, restoring the mezzanine balcony in the church, adding gallery and lobby space and state-of-the-art video and sound system, is $2.3 million. We already have commitments of over 26% of the cost to build, so over $600,000, including, as you know, $200,000 from the state of Maryland. And we also received money in a grant from the town of Poolesville last year, which we used toward marking the potential grave sites and enhancing the cemetery memorial there, just to make sure that, you know, the graves in the cemetery are not forgotten and they're honored. So we spent some of that grant money on that. This year's grant we would use to offset the cost of signage and safety measures for off-site event parking, should that be the arrangement. Outdoor lighting, a permanent outdoor stage cover, and stormwater management measures. As you know, there's a nice swimming pool, skating rink, you know, right next to the church. Need to address that. The town, you guys are known for making excellent budgetary decisions that have brought this community together in a big but small town way. For example, the building of Wayland's Commons with the band shell, and then creating a position within the town staff for the events, investing in the preservation of historic structures in the town. We commend all that. They're perfect examples. So financial support for a performing arts center can be another example. The Performing Arts Center will give the community its own personal theater right in the middle of town for movies, piano recitals, community theater, award ceremonies, performances by the town's local community band, the Reserve Wind Ensemble, starring Sarah Paxima, lectures and presentations, perhaps sponsored by the Poolesville seniors, dance and ballet recitals, poetry and spoken word, history presentations and lectures, perhaps from Historic Medley District, student art shows, student theater, practice, rehearsal, and performance space for student musicians and local bands, and yet another reason to live in Poolesville. So on top of that, the Performing Arts Center retains a heritage site. That will be an attraction that will bring increased visitors to town, encouraging them to shop and dine in Poolesville, a boost to the town's economic development. Finally, financial support for the project from the town of Poolesville will be critical to showing federal, state, county, and other organizations the town's unequivocal support for and partnership with us on the project, and at the same time demonstrate the town's efforts at creating economic development and its own economic autonomy. That's my pitch. Questions? Our pitch.
Everybody? I don't, we're not going to have Dave talk?
No.
We've been
Turn
really
this off.
successful for the past 6 months not having Dave.
Yes, have you all noticed? I did that for you.
That's why I asked. I hated to rip the Band-Aid off, but that's why I asked.
Can I say something?
Yeah. Hey,
Sandy,
Yes.
did I hear something about that the Old Methodist Church or whatever it is what would be used as a park when people aren't there? Like it would be like available for the town for people to.
Yeah, so he can answer that because that's totally his vision.
I think there's a lot of things being unsaid that are we think is just common knowledge. Yes, it's Riverworks itself is a public offering. It is the town's art center. You know, yes, we have to run it as a 501c with the board, but we would love a member of the commissions to be on that board or to show up at that board. So yes, it's a matter of keeping that public and to hold it up as a heritage site. but it's also to create energy down at that end so that some of these new retailers that may be driving through town say, hey, there's something going on here, like they're doing right now, and maybe they'll move in. Maybe we'll get a bookstore or some kind of little kitschy shop of some sort to create more action and more vibrant community,
Specifically on the park question, yes, it's going to be beautifully landscaped by Dave. We've seen what he can do. And even with the stormwater management, you can do some really nice, we've actually gotten money from the county at the Butler School for some conservation landscaping that Dave designed. And it's I will say, it's one of the hallmarks, what do I want to say? One of the things that attracts people to the school. They feel like it's an oasis. So, yes, parkland, but also already we have a couple of picnic tables there, and when the weather's good, the high school kids come have lunch. We love that. It's just like they come hang out. And it's just there. So yes.
I want to tell you that I watch, and they pick up their trash. All the
Wade
time.
doesn't, I mean,
Wade
not
doesn't
Preston
doesn't have to go there to pick up vodka bottles from the kids. But no, they really respect it because it's neat and tidy and it's right there. And if you give a person a chance to respect something, they will.
Yeah, love it. I think this is such a unique public-private partnership, and I think we don't have a lot of examples of what that looks like in our area, and so I think it'd be great for you to expand a little bit on like a community center, something we're also talking about right now. It's going to be maybe a little bit more recreation, athletics going on over there. Health, yeah, obviously a health clinic. And I think people have in their mind, okay, when there's a community center, if we want to use this space, like here's the rules for how we can like sign up and reserve and use the space. Can you expand a little bit on how people will have access to this space?
Well, when we've had a plan from the start of Locals, and Locals was set up not so much as a restaurant and a business as a community gathering place that people will start showing up, bumping into people. And we accomplished that. But it will always be Dave and Sandy's place, and it's for money. So we wanted to make sure that we expanded that to a public or Poolesville site that is, and I've called it, a community center, a open door church of sorts that people can use, of course, we're going to have to manage it, but for whatever events and whatever time, and hopefully very cheaply,
Yeah. So accessibility will definitely be
Accessibility,
one of the priorities.
And affordability.
Yes.
Further on down the road, I think the expansion and having a tie to the high school is very important. To have class space or classrooms either in that building or other buildings to form a campus and a vibrant downtown,
Yeah.
thing where we can have kids.
Have you spoken much with the? I know there are different county counterparts that you've also been working with.
Right.
I guess this is more of a thought brainstorm rather than a question. But given the small size of our proposed community center, there isn't going to be like a theater there. I'm curious if we can work with the county on some of the program funding and using Riverworks as an extended community space as
Right.
part of the overall community programming.
There are a lot of different, like even Black Rock has a bit of county in it.
Okay.
And I.
Good.
I would be, some of that's not so great. I would rather the town of Poolesville be a solid partner in that because it's our community and it's not Montgomery County's community. Although we need their help and we need their respect, to us, but.
Sure, and it's
I really-
people outside Poolesville who will be also using this, right? Like other
It'll
county
be,
members.
there's a whole ag tourism thing
Right.
that's going to surround it. But I think
But to answer your question, I mean, there are grants for the arts and humanities that,
Yes.
and we're working for programming. We're trying to get ourselves embedded in those
Right.
budgets. Takes a few years because they
Right.
want to see 3 years of operations. So
Yeah.
we're on year 2 and,
Okay.
going strong.
But as far as,
And I hear what you're saying is that there's a precedence for public-private partnerships.
Right. Yeah,
And we
but-
can create something kind of
Well,
unique,
that'd be
public-private
awesome.
partnership that works for Poolesville.
Right,
Right.
but we can also ask for capital money from the county, but, and we will, but community center first, you know what I mean? Is the way I see it. It's like, I feel like, I kind of agree with you, it's all part of the same package, it's all part of one, but, but we're a 501c3, it's not nearly the same project, we want county support, but I don't want to take away from the community center support, do you know what I mean? So
You're talking about in the
in the
county budget?
Yeah, so what we will.
I mean,
ask-
our hope
we're
is
gonna
that
ask for
it's-
capital money, and we're also gonna ask for, we already have,
Yeah.
and we will continue to ask for programming money from the county in
Right.
addition to the arts and humanities. I mean, it's
But not a
kind of the
legal
same, but not the same.
partnership with the county.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but we
yeah.
don't wanna be like
That's-
Blackrock.
Got
That's
it.
dangerous. I'd rather have a legal partnership with the town
We
of
just-
Poolesville,
yeah.
Yeah.
But I love, yes, that
Okay.
concept, and yes, I think, I feel like it's all part of, the package, Poolesville. The one nice thing about, it's not a county-funded, like the community center, and correct me if I'm wrong, is a county-funded, to be building it. I'd love
And they're
county
gonna-
grant support, but it's not gonna be a county-funded, we're doing this, we're
Right.
gonna try to do this on our own
That's what I
with
mean.
their support, right?
Right.
So it's,
Right.
I feel like that will help
So that
the
we can
community
drive
center,
our
'cause
own
we're also
future, you
doing,
know?
right, we're also doing things for ourselves as the town, so,
Yeah,
Sure.
absolutely. We have a strong history of that here.
well, that too, yeah. So, it's, yeah.
when I'm reading over the grant request right now, and so what I'm seeing is really more like some seed money to help with some of that infrastructure, a small portion of a larger amount that you all are putting up. And I know you got some of it coming from different grants. And so as I'm reading through it, it's really, let's get it off the ground, let's get some capital to do some things and take care of a lot of the infrastructure as I'm looking at the stage, the equipment. And so am I reading it right as my
And the safety of.
safety piece?
you know,
Right, and I look
that-
at those
that
as like
road's already
infrastructures.
Difficult, and the puddle is already there, and so these things are a way to partner with the town for things they're
Okay.
probably gonna do anyway,
Right, and I tried to list things that we could do immediately and separate, because we still have to get our town permit, then we need our county building permit. We got a
Right.
little ways to go.
We got a
but-
year before we
But
build
there's
this
plenty
thing.
of work.
A lot of pieces to the puzzle that have to
work
fall in
on,
place.
Yeah, with
You know, with
money
the-
this year.
With
should
the
should
stage
you-
cover, you can be using this thing for quite a long time,
Mm-hmm.
Get some activity there.
So that was,
All right, it was pretty clear to me, so thank you. Keep up your great work.
thank you. I just went back on your question about community access to the facility. We already, with locals and we do with Riverworks, who, you need our space. We find ways for people that they can use our space at affordable prices. We do hope to also get revenue from not local, bigger somethings
Yeah, of
for
course.
to help sustain the church. But yes, obviously, and I think we have a track record of this,
Right.
where the community will have,
Along
great
with
access
our-
and easy access, an email, a sign up or whatever, kind of like the churches do so beautifully.
Along with our classes and everything else, we try to make it approachable to anybody, and if we have to give grants, we give grants, we just.
Scholarships.
Scholarships to go to the classes or to join the trumpeters, that's what it's for. It's a thing.
Questions, other commissioners? Martin?
I don't know.
Jeff, anything for Sandy and Dave?
I just wanted to mention that ever since locals was open, that corner, which was essentially dead, has so much energy and vibrance, and you can see the people chatting. And I hope you didn't put the tent back up because I know it was damaged with the snow and the
Oh, yeah,
ice
we
and
wait for
whatnot.
that too.
That has been such great to see. the community gathering there, frequently, and I drive by there,
That's what we
every,
want
every
to
day.
continue right across.
And I
right
just,
across.
I fully expect that you're going to, stretch your arms and bring that same energy and vibrance to another area of town that, needs a shot in the arm. So I really congratulate you, and I hope, I'm sure, I have no doubt in my mind that Riverworks and the resurrection of that church is going to be a super success.
Yeah,
Thank you.
good.
Any other questions, you guys, for him? So I'd be remiss in saying that we sold you the building for $50,000 and you're asking for 100. Do I have the math right on that?
Did you notice I didn't use that amount? in my-
I know, I understand that. I understand that. That's okay. It's better that we talk about it in public and let everybody absorb that. You have,
I'm only asking for twice what we gave you.
that's right, and that's fine. We're glad to borrow the lend.
You 10 times.
I was going to say, exactly. There's no question. There's no question. We just,
You put the money in the bank and got interest.
we picked up a couple bucks in interest, and now it's, potentially back out again. But I did want to say that, you guys, as you know how I feel about this, you're true partners to the town and to the community, as well as Fair Access, and all the other groups that work with you, work through you. The arts community, just so important. And we had no idea it was going to be this much impact when we put together our little cabal to create locals. And here we go, expand back out. I'm so glad you guys came into town and decided to invest in us. And you were only, 4 miles up the road, but now you're here, too. You're, 4 miles up and back. But now you're here, and we want you to stay and continue to be the partners that you guys have grown to be, and we're going to work with you on the grant request and your future growth plans, et cetera. So, thanks again for being those people. So, good. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Yep, very good. Thank you. Okay, yay for you guys.
Thank you.
Yay for you guys. So next up on our grant request is going to be the Buddhist Temple grant request, and Wade. To start us off, how much is the grant request for it? We should probably lead off with this every time so the public knows what this is. I don't have to bring it up at the end.
I believe this was
I think it's 30, is it
3,000.
3,000?
Yes.
Okay, it's $3,000. And if anybody else wanted to come up too and be a part of the presentation, we appreciate it. Awesome.
No, is it?
No, sorry, yeah, it's 1,225
1,000.
total.
1,000.
1,200.
I read you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Well, to
3,000.
find that underlined number.
I actually try not to look at the numbers until after we get the presentation anyway, so thank you for this and for bringing it up.
$1,000.
Yeah, this is, what's that?
Because the 225 is what's being done.
Oh, okay.
225 in the.
Are we good over there, staff? We're good. Gotcha. Introduce yourselves and thank you for coming.
Hey, okay, so hi, my name is Zachary Antonishek. I'm a junior in the Global Ecology Studies program at Poolesville High School, and I am a Boy Scout, part of the Troop 496 at Poolesville.
And you live here in Poolesville?
Yes.
All right, good.
So I'm requesting this grant for my Eagle project at the KPC Buddhist Temple. The KPC Buddhist Temple includes a 65-acre peace park, which is open to visitors daily from dawn to dusk as a place of restoration and refuge. The Peace Park's trails, streams, and woodlands provide natural nourishment for all who seek it, and I plan to improve the Peace Park's trails between the green and blue gardens at the top of the map. On that trail, there's a section of around 50 stairs that are made of railroad ties and badly in need of replacement. Also, the 1/2 mile trail between those gardens needs general maintenance, such as regrading, runoff management, and pushing back vegetation. This improvement is necessary because the stairs between the blue and green gardens are deteriorated and unstable, making it difficult for people to traverse the trail safely. To combat these problems, we're going to be purchasing new railroad ties and using rebar stakes to anchor them in the ground, and I will also be adding a ditch alongside the stairs for some stormwater management. In addition, the slope has changed over time, meaning I will need to regrade and straighten out the trail. If I receive the grant, the money will be spent to purchase materials necessary for the project. We will be purchasing 25 creosote-treated railroad ties, priced at $27 each for a total of $700, as well as 35 rebar stakes, priced at $8 each for a total of $300. And this project can have a very large impact on the Poolesville community because of how the Peace Park is freely accessible to visitors regardless of faith or means. Also, the park's proximity to the town makes it, the park's proximity to the town of Poolesville makes it an easy outing for families, dog walkers, bird watchers, and others seeking to enjoy a walk in nature. In my personal experience, the Peace Park has been a great place to relieve stress, be in nature, and connect with friends. As part of the global program, we took a field trip to the Peace Park where we visited some of the stupas and went on a hike. On this trip, I wrote in my global journal that it helped me grow closer relationships with friends and classmates while also relieving some stress from upcoming tests. I chose this site as my Eagle project because of how as a nonprofit organization, the KPC Buddhist Temple relies on charitable donations and volunteer work. I think that my project could greatly improve the Peace Park trails, both improving the usability and the safety of the trails. Furthermore, I hope to expand the knowledge of the Peace Park to other Poolesville residents as a nearby place to go with friends and family. So after the project is completed, I expect that several things will happen. One, the trail will remain in better shape for many years to come, while the stairs will last for decades, impacting thousands of people over its lifespan. Two, people will be able to go on longer hikes in the Peace Park without ever having to fear tripping or getting hurt in any way. And three, the trails will again be wide enough for multiple people to walk side by side, encouraging a hike with friends or family members. And finally, four, then I hope that the knowledge of the Peace Park and its trails will be expanded to many more Poolesville residents. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Dawa, did you want to contribute anything?
No, I'm just so happy to see that there are people who are not just part of our community, but part of the Poolesville community who are taking advantage of the land that is there, because that is why it's there. And by making it safer, it's going to be also more people will come. So our goal always have been to have this place available to the public, and people like Zach are helping doing that. And we had also another troop of Boy Scouts helping with rebuild bridges, again, to make all those trails much more accessible and safe. So I'm here just as moral support, and I'm so thrilled to have people like Zach helping with that, and also the fact that the town of Poolesville has programs to help defray the cost. So I'm here really happy person, and I'm also a Poolesville resident.
Great, thank you. Commissioners, do you have any questions for Zach?
I just want to compliment you, Zach. It's coming from a scout family and knowing how hard it is, and I've been watching quite a few of the folks in your troop get those eagles one after the other, and so for you to come up and put this presentation together, I think you did a great job, and so I look forward to seeing where we go with it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Keep up the good work.
I'll try.
Yeah, appreciate you being here. I know the stairs well that you're talking about.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm a regular user, so I know what you're talking about.
That's great.
Great. Jeff, anything for Zach?
No, not really. Just congratulations on the presentation, and we hope everything works out. I haven't visited the property myself, but now it's definitely piqued my interest, so I will definitely take a look. Thank you so much.
Of course, thank you.
Zach, so first of all, as I know you're from a fine Poolesville family, I've kind of watched you grow up from little Zach to big Zach, taller than Jim Zach. And I love the fact that you've taken on this project as your Eagle project. And the Buddhist Temple, you guys have always had a great impact on the Poolesville community. I always feel more at peace when I see you guys around town. So thank you for your impact as well. And I know you're not within town limits, but you certainly share our zip code and our name. And it's and the Buddhist Temple is a source of pride for the community as well. So great project to take on. We're going to all discuss our grant requests in various other sessions, but we'll definitely keep you apprised of what's going on. And thanks for the presentation. Good to see your family.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
All right, Poolesville Pride, you are up next. And what is the grant request for Poolesville
This
Pride?
one is the one that's 3,000.
Thank you.
Got a pile of grants, I didn't memorize the number.
You just cut Zach's budget. No, you're good. So Poolesville Pride steps up to the plate and has a grant request for $3,000. And I know that Sam is here to present, and I know that you've also had some dialogue with town hall staff on this. And I'll let you guys free range it and talk it through a little bit tonight.
Thank you so much. My name is Sam Cooper, 20330 Whites Ferry Road, nearly lifetime Poolesville resident. I'm here with my friends Yair and Ezekiela to present a grant proposal for what we hope is just the first of many Poolesville Pride festivals to come. I have been in dialogue with some folks to my left here, knowing that this request is actually sort of coming at a weird time in the sort of like budget calendar. The truth is that our organization, our club, didn't exist in March 2023. In fact, I was reminded today that today is actually the 1-year anniversary of our first ever event, which was a queer potluck that we held at the Well, and that was indeed Poolesville's first ever open to the public, LGBT-friendly event. And it just seems kind of ridiculous to me that it was 2023 before that happened, right? And so we're really trying to catch up here.
We appreciate your leadership.
Yeah, and so we've received partnership commitments from Locals, Riverworks, and Up County Prevention Network, which is, of course, a 501c or 3C rather, to hold an open to the public Pride event the second weekend in June. And we're asking for sort of be slotted in here in budgetary considerations to not only to support what we hope is just like a really fun event for the whole town, and we're hoping that, we just got to get a lot of cross-pollination from locals and just people in town that Saturday, but also as a hopefully a signal to the town's commitment to growing acknowledgement of the diversity that makes our community so wonderful. LGBT folks have been here forever, and it remains sort of an invisible population, right? And so since receiving a little micro grant earlier this year, we've really worked on visibility. You may have seen some of our You Belong Here, Poolesville Pride stickers in various businesses around town. And we had a booth at Poolesville Day and connected with a lot of people, got a lot of community interest. We started gathering, we've been gathering emails for a pretty healthy email list, and we've started holding smaller sort of private gatherings here and there at private residences, but we really want to have a sort of coming out party, pun intended, to celebrate, the vibrancy of our community. And, in talking with my friends about this event, it's really like a party we want to hold for the town. Like that's the vibe we're trying to create here, is like, representing the spirit and contributions of LGBT folks, here and around the world. And just really want to bring some fun and some color and some celebratory atmosphere to the town. I think our request is pretty reasonable given sort of like the scope of the event that we want to create. And I also want to say that, I know that the youth of the town are such an important part of like the heart of our community, and so we're also really committed to partnering with the Queer Student Union at Poolesville High School, and we've started talking with their faculty member sponsor about how to best coordinate that, and really actually give them kind of a huge leadership role in this, in terms of like, what do you want to see happen here? What kinds of offerings at this party, but also just in terms of Poolesville Pride events do you want to be a part of and sort of spearhead? So we really view this as a golden opportunity to coordinate a lot of sort of disparate elements in the town who are all interested in sort of creating a more welcoming environment, especially for the next generation. Like, the last time I was at this microphone, I spoke quite candidly about the sort of pain of growing up in Poolesville and kind of feeling invisible here. And this is something, unfortunately, that kids in town still report to us feeling. And we're really committed to changing that, as fast as we can. And so we're hoping that you, take our proposal under consideration, and we would love to work with the town on an ongoing basis in any way that we can to further this inclusivity sort of initiative, including perhaps additional, as named in the proposal, additional Pride Month acknowledgements, right? Raising a pride flag or putting up colored lights in town. I'm also a big fan of the lights. I'm glad that they're up later this year. On the way here, we were commenting on that. It's really...
I think we've moved from Christmas to rainbow.
Yeah, exactly. Just keep them up, right? Just like maybe turn them off in May and then just like turn them back on, and then we'll say, it's Pride Month, you know? You know, I'd be happy to field any questions. I'm aware that some of the things in the proposal, I was made aware of the fact that like the proposed site for the drone photo is probably not going to be an option, given the fact that it's probably going to be a First Friday celebration of the Commons. So I propose we just find an alternate location for that, perhaps mirroring the famous, I forget what year it was, but the famous photo taken in front of Town Hall of the entire population of Poolesville. It was older than that.
Oh yeah, we did one that, but it's the one that was in National Geographic. I forget what year it was. 1959. Right. Thanks, Tom.
Yeah, exactly. So we were thinking that would be a great alternate site for this if the Commons doesn't work.
Yeah,
out.
feed and drink everybody at locals and have them walk outside.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, we're planning an evening, basically, well, a whole afternoon, including hopefully student appropriate like talent show opportunities. We'll have like a little award show. I've roped my friend Yair into being a judge with me.
Good job.
You know, and hopefully a fantastic evening of dancing DJ'd by our own Ezekiela here. And we just think it's going to be a fantastic way to partner with some of our friends at Locals and Riverworks, as well as the Upper County Prevention Network. Who
great groups to associate with.
Yeah, exactly. Who also have a student group that they're going to loop in. We've gotten a commitment about that. The Uplift. Project Uplift, something like that.
Worked with them before. Project Uplift.
Yeah. And so again, we're trying to really make this a sort of multi-generational event, and we're hoping that the town can commit to our vision.
And
Commissioners,
so,
go ahead.
just to clarify, and I know about this because I was looped in that email conversation with Wade, what you're asking for is seeing if there's funding in last year's budget for this year, June 2024, and then also sort of then for the next year after that.
Correct. That would be our hope,
2025.
ideally.
Okay.
Yeah. Because again, I think that this has all the earmarks of being a success, given the partnerships we're making, and I'm hoping that this is just the first of many.
Yeah, we get it. You're playing catch up a little bit too. So it's, you know, the town is going to continue to work with you on, and Sarah will work with you on the, you know, the structuring of the budget request, and also to the structuring of your organization to help you guys get along and, you know, and do the pieces that you need to do to become a regular grant requester and receiver as time goes on. So I trust our guys will do that as time goes on too. So, and I know you've had a lot of dialogue already. So, and as I said, you're playing catch up here. I get it. So,
And my understanding is that from this, that you're working not under UPN, but like, as in, they would be the fund receivers, since they're the 501c3,
Right.
and then would disperse the funds for the event.
Right, and they could, you know, send an official letter pertaining to that with their IEN, or if need be. But yes, that's sort of our conception of it.
Okay.
we trust we're going to come up with a nice, legal, worthy, and appropriate way to work with you guys. So, and we appreciate the leadership that all three of you are taking on this as well. And again, it's we're playing catch up on things in town sometimes, and you're part of it, and we appreciate you doing it. Anything else from the commissioners?
No.
Anything else, guys?
Oh, good.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Good seeing you.
You know, I just wanted
Jeff, you didn't wave. Did you wave at me? No, there, Jeff's waving his hand.
No, I just wanted to congratulate you, and I know, when was the date, Mr. Cooper, when we first had the event at your location? Was over by K2 Cafe in the area down by the end there?
Yeah, that
was that 2023?
Yeah, that was literally 1 year ago today. I was reminded by Facebook that was the 1 year ago today, and I remember very well shaking your hand and saying welcome. Yeah.
Well, you know, that space was very open, maybe a bit austere. You know, the furniture was kind of coming in in little bits at a time, and but everybody was very welcoming, and So I definitely congratulate you on your request for the grant, and it will be given every due consideration when we go over the budget, and it goes to be in March, I think. Isn't that right? We go over the budget in March? Someone?
March, yep.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks so much for helping us play catch up. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, good seeing you guys. Wade?
Sir, so certainly right now, what we have in front of us is two different requests. One for this fiscal year for grant monies that are already previously allocated, and then one for '25 that we will actually take up in a budget work session. For this particular thing, there was $5,000 in the grant program for just miscellaneous grants. $750 of that was used previously for this exact
For the mini one.
Establishment of the group.
mini grant, exactly. So there are funds available in that, but this would have to be voted on by the commission in a public session, not separate from the budget.
Right, and have you received everything you need to, from the group in order to give us the materials that we need in order to, do we have the structure provided for the grant requests that we need for that?
We do, yeah. All the
Okay.
information's here for that.
Okay, good. I just,
For a grant of this type, yes, not a larger one's a little bit different, and we'll
Right.
discuss that in more detail the next meeting, but for a small
Yeah.
one like this, yes.
understood. So, we need to make a budget amendment right now, or we would need a
Not
To
even a
vote-
budget
Not even a
amendment,
budget
just a
amendment, it's just
proposal.
Motion.
allocation of it, yeah, awarding it.
allocation of the budget line item that's already been
Already
established.
been established.
Okay, great. Anybody want to take a quick stab at that one? And if we, then we
Yeah,
can have
I-
discussion what
So this
they
is-
are.
Well,
So I
I mean,
just have a
before
quick-
I make a
Hang-
proposal, yeah, who
Yeah.
has questions?
Well, no, Jeff, just hang on. Let's make a motion and a second, and then we'll have discussion, okay?
Oh, okay.
Okay, sure, go ahead.
All right, I motion that we approve $3,000 from the grant line item, what do you call it?
That works.
A part of the budget, and award it to Poolesville Pride Club for the Pride celebration in June.
Okay, very good. Do we have a second for that? Either one of you guys? Second for Martin? Okay, and then, all right, so point of question, Jeff, go ahead.
Well, I was just curious because, so the question was, we already had this in the budget, and it was already earmarked for this organization, is that correct?
No, it's just a unearmarked funds were in a line item for general grants, anybody who came forward.
Okay, but it's coming out of the current year's budget, is that right?
That is correct.
Okay, even though it wasn't particularly designated for a specific organization or a different organization? Okay, well, thank you.
Right, so, Jeff, what we're saying is that the designation of this group for that grant request is what we're voting on.
Right, okay.
Again, it's
Yeah.
a budget line item that's already been established, but it has to have a landing point and be
Right.
voted on by the
And
commission.
how does that number fit with the request then? Because I didn't hear the number. Maybe Wade mentioned it,
You said
wasn't paying
5,000.
attention.
Yes, there's a $5,000 line item.
Oh, okay, so this is a little bit shy of that?
That's correct.
Okay. All right.
But thank you for asking. Yeah. Okay, very good, commissioners. Anything else on this issue? So again, we have a budget request that we'll be dealing with in the next budgetary session over the coming month and a half, but we're dealing with a line item approval right now for out of the budget, out of the grant request budget line item that exists currently. So motion's been made. We have a second. Everybody ready for a vote?
Yeah.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
None? Thank you. It's been approved 5-0. Congrats, guys. Keep up the good work and keep us in the loop on everything that you're doing, okay? Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Jeff, you good?
No, I just want to say to Mr. Cooper, if there's another a kind of welcoming event, we definitely would be interested to have the invitation.
There you go. Thank you. He's saying yes from the way back. Where's our director on this one, right? We have a camera back there?
We have a microphone walking around. Right?
No, it's all good. Jeff, that's a good question. Okay, Jerry, I haven't forgotten about you. Here you go, buddy.
Jerry Klobakowski, 17300 Fletcher Road, Poolesville, Maryland. I applaud the vision of what Riverworks could become, but a lot of what was said about what would go on there is exactly why Wayland Commons was created. And that is a very small area to do what may be, when you look at the movie nights on Wayland Commons, to do some of the things they say to. Plus, $100,000, I'm against the $100,000 grant of the Poolesville taxpayers' money for this organization, especially when the town is faced with having to install filtration systems on probably all our wells eventually, which will filter out PFAS and other things, particularly as this will not be a one-time item, and will have to be, the filters will have to be changed all the time. You also brought up the idea of a tax increase. I'm sure there's going to be water and sewer increases. So it's like, I'm sorry, when is a Poolesville taxpayer, going to get relief as opposed to someone else? And also, according to the grant request, it's supposed to be 1.9 million, and I thought I just heard it's now 2.3 million. So it went up 400K since the request was written, if I'm correct. So I am definitely against giving $100,000 to the Riverworks. I believe in the Poolesville area phone directory. I think it's valuable. However, the request exceeds the $1,000 grant threshold, and I would recommend that if you decide to move ahead with this, that before any money is granted and money is needed to print and mail it, that you find out what the ad revenue was from selling the ads in the phone directory and what the difference would be with a ceiling of no higher than $3,000. Okay, because I do believe, I still use it, and like I have one in my house and one in each of my cars. And then with respect to the Buddhist temple, I'm sort of torn because my son was a scout and an Eagle Scout, and he helped put up all the park signs. In fact, dug the holes for them and put the signs together, the original ones, not the ones the green ones that are up now, and everything. So, and I know it's an Eagle Scout project. I know it's from, he's a Poolesville resident and everything, but it's out of Poolesville town property. Okay, and so that really tears me about. I really have a problem with granting that money. Also, I don't think you can have creosote ties anymore. I'm not sure. Wade would know.
No, so I was actually just looking that up.
Yeah.
And it seems like the EPA has denounced the use of them for, and danger as far as being a carcinogen for those who are actually treating the wood and using it.
Okay,
for the
so it's the
treatment.
yeah.
They still allow them to
Yeah.
be used, and they should not be used near vegetable
Well,
gardens, is what I heard.
I was thinking with all the telephone poles that have been taken down lately, we ought to probably talk to Potomac Edison or Verizon and see if we get some of those telephone poles and then have them cut in half and use them for steps. And have Potomac Edison donate the poles. And, a local, I think, was a Dave Cahoon, and what's the other guy? Chris Holgram. I don't know, I think he's got a sawmill up on
Kaleva
Tree
too.
Road.
Yeah,
In
Kaleva too, yeah.
So, and they could
Good idea.
cut the logs in half and use them for steps, which would save money. So anyways, against that. And the only thing is with the Poolesville Pride, I noticed they had a thing in there for a PA and a DJ. Well, if you're going to have a DJ, he's going to bring a public address system, so why do you need a public address system too? So I would look at that with respect to the money there. So those are my thoughts on the thing. And I'd like to say I appreciated what Skip did tonight. I really enjoyed it. In fact, I was a newly elected commissioner in '96, and I was invited to participate as a speaker at the dedication of the historical site at Sugarland Road Church. So, he did a real good job, and I was privileged to represent the town for doing that.
Thank you for doing that.
All righty. So that's it.
All good points, Jerry.
One other thing.
Yes, sir.
I did like to see the lights up with the snow, but also the snow is the fact that the town did an excellent job, as it always has in the past 30 years I've been here. 40 years about,
Agreed.
keeping the streets clean and everything else, although I wish they wouldn't push it up on the sidewalks so much, but.
That's only your house.
But I got a snow blower, and it got me one pie, some barbecue, chicken tortilla soup, so.
Oh, that sounds like you
let
got-
it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
You got good neighbors.
All right.
Jerry, thanks for that. All good points on all of your reflections, and I'm glad you waited till the end so you can give us those. Appreciate it, and we'll definitely take them under consideration. Very good. Okay, that's the end of the grant request time for tonight, and that leaves us with one more piece of new business. I don't know if Jay's still in there. Hey, Jay.
There he is.
Going to talk to us about the state,
in there, Jay.
the state law.
Good evening, team. This should only take about 45 minutes, so we're all set for that.
You said it would only take 45 minutes. You're supposed to laugh now.
Right.
Thank you.
I'll run
I'll laugh.
quick then. So the state, recently passed a law regarding cannabis, talking about its legalization for recreational uses, expanding it from medical uses, and none of that is directly related to the town or municipal government. The issue for municipal government is the providing side of things, meaning that we have cannabis growers, they're licensed by the state, and then now we have more cannabis dispensaries, the places that are the retail outlets for people to get cannabis that are licensed by the state. So that is an entirely new concept for Maryland, and Maryland law went into effect and basically said that, hey, local governments, meaning everybody that has zoning authority, which means us, you need to address it in your zoning law. Because right now, there is no such thing as a cannabis dispensary in the zoning law. So if you want to think about it, go back and use the example of like alcohol sales, years and years and years ago, when the state said you're going to have an alcohol sales license and you have to be licensed, and there are certain things that you have to do. The towns had to adjust as well for that. So that's kind of what we're talking about. So that is what this subject is about the town starting to address dispensaries and how it will be handled in their local zoning code. As we talked about a couple meetings ago, we're going to try to start doing things, instead of the ends justify the means, we'll follow the procedures, and that'll at least make me happy when we do zoning stuff. And you remember I said we talk about it first at the commissioner level, and then we send it to the planning commission, and then it comes back to the commissioners for you to discuss, have a public hearing, further discuss, and then adopt. And, the process we used before was, hey, this is a great idea, let's just send it to the planning commission, and then they did all the nuts and bolts. So what you have in front of you in your package, I think I don't know if it's in your package, but it was a handout from me to Wade, and I don't know how he's distributed it, but basically it's a draft of what the key points would have to be in our zoning law to deal with cannabis dispensaries. So it's pretty straightforward. Where would you locate these? Obviously, you're going to locate them in the commercial zone, right? You don't have any types of other zones except commercial and residential, so you're going to be putting them in the commercial zone. You need to come up with a definition, and that definition is right out of state law, so that would amend your definition section. And in your commercial zone, you want to treat this use as a special exception use, a conditional use, just like you do other things that require the Board of Zoning Appeals to have a hearing. And that way, there are guarantees that conditions can be met and public processes can be made. So what are those conditions? Well, state law basically says that there has to be distance requirements from things like daycares and schools and parks like that. And so instead of an application coming in and saying, hey, we're 500 feet, this would be one of the conditions that the applicant who wants to open a dispensary would have to make their presentation to the Board of Zoning Appeals, and then the public, including the neighbors, would have an opportunity to see it and deal with it in a much more public and transparent way. So what you have in front of you is basically the things that the state law says you can address, and we make this a special exception, and then we adjust the code accordingly. There are certain things the Planning Commission is going to need to focus on, things like parking and traffic and things like that, because this is a high volume, high in and out use of place, and we want to make sure that we have adequacy of that. They're more appropriate to deal with it. So what you have in front of you is the first draft, if you will. My recommendation for you is to send it to the Planning Commission and then we can massage it at the planning commission level and have it come back to you, and then we can open it up and go on from there. So if you have any questions or comments or concerns about it, happy to deal with it now.
Jeff, go ahead.
I have a question. Do we have any applicants that are requesting permission to open a cannabis store?
We do not.
Yeah, there's been no applicants that I'm aware of.
Is the second question, can a municipality, and I'm not saying this is what we want to do, but can a municipality decline? Or does the state of Maryland have authority?
A municipality can't, so I'll answer the second one. The state of Maryland doesn't have any authority to dictate whether you say yes or no. However, zoning law, as operated by the courts in the state, basically say that you have to provide a use for everything in your town. So if there is no category for that use, it's a problem, because then maybe you could argue that it could go anywhere. So you have to define it and put it in a place. If you check your zoning code, and we went through this, I don't know, it's been 10, maybe longer years ago, we had to define adult entertainment establishments, something like adult bookstores, something like that, because it wasn't in the code. And when we came through and we said, well, if we don't define it, then somebody can come in and say, well, it's a bookstore, it's just commercial. I can locate it anywhere in the commercial district without conditions. So this is one of those counterintuitives where the more things you can put on there and make it specify, the more narrowly tailored it could happen. So you really can't say no, because no would cause problems down the road.
And is it possible that a municipality, well, let me back up. So is it possible that the code that you looked up says it has to be a certain distance from a school or a daycare, this and that? Is it possible that a municipality can say that it's a different distance, like a longer distance or a shorter distance?
So yeah, they're a step ahead of you there at the State General Assembly. They basically said 500 feet is the max. So you can make it closer than 500 feet, but you can't say 2,000 feet. And sorry, there's no place that's closer than that. So 500 feet is the max. You could make it a more minimum distance, but the issue then becomes, what is your justification for saying what's less than 500? You know, what you'd have to have a finding of why that would be necessary. If you can imagine in like Baltimore City, in dense places, it's easier to do smaller distances because of the densely packed places. In your rural area, longer distances work because lots are bigger and things are spread out.
So Jay, like in a place like Poolesville, where we actually are a pretty small town, even though we're surrounded by large rural distances, if there literally doesn't exist a space in the town that is 500 feet from all of these locations, that would be, for example, a justification of adjusting that number so that it was like 200 feet or something, so that it could be commercially feasible to find a location that was that distance from, daycares, church, all of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that would be a justification, but when we at least theoretically looked at this and we said, well, you know where your commercial zone is.
Yeah.
And so obviously it's not a circle, but if you can visualize it like a bullseye, obviously you're not going to be able to put anywhere around the edge of the commercial zone.
Right.
But the closer you get to the middle, you would have those types of buffers to the edges.
Yeah, okay.
So if you guys are good, I think that we would just send it to the planning commission, and I don't know if they'll deal with it all in one meeting, but Martin, you and I will deal with it when we go to the planning commission level.
Sounds good.
Any sort of consensus needed, or were you okay to just receive the presentation as is and then designate it to move on? Who does the designation?
Well, I have a question. So is it possible for the commissioners to write up some suggestions or recommendations and hand that to the planning commission?
Yeah, you don't even have to do that. If you all have some suggestions and recommendations, you can deal with it right at this level and give it to the staff, meaning, Wade Niles and I, and we can see how we can address that before it goes to the planning commission. You all are the deciders. If the planning commission is the chalkboard that you're throwing it up against.
Well, I mean, I only heard about this, and I'm away, so I didn't get a chance to look at the package, and I don't want to just make up just have a final decision right at this moment, at least for myself.
Right. Well, I guess to give you some comfort, if you look at the process and say that you guys are okay with this concept going to the planning commission, which is what you normally did anyway, the planning commission is going to kick it around. I can't imagine they're going to do it in one meeting. And then it's going to come back to you all again for you to put the final touches on it. And then you're going to have a public hearing. The public hearing is at your level. And then you hear what the public has to say, and you may put even more final touches on it. So it's not like you're
there's plenty of time and still built into this. This is an introduction. And really, Jeff, I feel comfortable that if we just say that, yes, it's okay to move this on to the planning commission, we're going to have several swings at it, and we'll have public input before we even have to take our swings at it. So I think, I hear you on it, and, do have it in front of you, and if you feel like you have something you need to add or contribute, no one's stopping you. But I'd rather see the process play out.
And you can do that at any time, Commissioner. I would welcome if you had comments or concerns or questions that you do that now so that we can get that worked out. That was the intent, is for us to go for a rough draft so you can see what we're talking about, as opposed to the other way we were talking about doing it, which is come to you and say, the state says you got to do this. What do you guys think? And you guys would say, hey, send it to the planning commission and see what they say. So instead, we're saying, because the secret is the people that do the work at the planning commission are the same ones that do it for you, me, Wade, and Niles. So it's right.
Well, it only seems like reasonable to avoid one less toss of the ping pong ball back and forth if we do provide some guidance. And I apologize. I just don't have that at my fingertips. So, yeah.
Okay, Jeff. Jeff and Jay. I think we have a pretty good idea of what you guys are, where you're headed to. And Jeff, good questions with it. And again, if my fellow commissioners are okay with the process as Jay's described, then I think it's appropriate to have it be put onto the Planning Commission's agenda at their next meeting, if we can do that in time. Again, this doesn't have a heavy time frame associated with it. Have it put on the Planning Commission agenda, and then Wade can keep us, and Jay can keep us apprised of the follow-through and the timing of the next sequence of events that surround it. You okay with that, Jay?
Yep, I think that's perfect. We'll do.
And Jeff, you comfortable with that? You're going to get plenty of shots at it. Read it up, send it off, chew it up, spit it out, spread it around.
Well, since you asked me, no, I'm not comfortable with that, because I think, just honestly, I feel that we should give the planning commission a little more guidance to avoid them making a good faith effort, writing up a document that comes to us and we say, we put it in the trash bin and the shredder, and we tell them to go back to work, and we still don't give them any direction at which what to include, what to exclude.
And you absolutely have the ability to give them that direction. Go for it. As do we. As do we.
Okay.
So I know you're probably looking for some sort of meeting collaborativeness where we can agree to it, and we don't have to. We can just have it be, if we all have our thoughts, we can send them off to them. What we don't want to do is complicate the process at the planning commission level, but, you as a citizen too, you're welcome to make comment, so. Anyway, are we okay with that, town staff? We're not getting too complicated here?
Going to the planning commission.
There you go.
If you have something to submit, please get it to us before next Wednesday.
There you go. And it'll be on next Wednesday's agenda then, for those guys. Okay, good. All right, thanks, Jeff. And Jay, appreciate the discussion. Moving on to the planning commission, life is good. Town manager's report, assistant town manager's report.
I got a couple things here. Yes, so we did have a good budget kickoff meeting this morning. Really talking about the bigger items. We still have revenue numbers that need to come in from the state as far as property tax and all that goes, so we can really get a good focus on or feeling about where we are with revenue. So a But we really do need to nail down our March work session. So either Saturday the 9th or Saturday the 16th would be the two best Saturdays to do a session, if we're going to do a Saturday work session like we have before.
The 16th work better for me. I'll be out of town. I'll be coming back
on the 9th
on the
as
9th.
well.
Okay.
So 16th I can do.
Okay.
16th, good for me.
Martin?
Yeah, I'm looking.
Jeff, how's 16th look for you?
Oh, yeah, 16th is fine, sure, definitely. 16th.
Yeah, I can make the 16th happen.
Okay, 16th, locked in.
Okay, so how many
time?
our schedules aligned?
We usually start at 9 unless you guys want to go earlier. Do we have any other special events that day going on? 6 a.m.?
I'm messing.
No.
Yeah, I'll be zooming in on that one.
9 or 8, I don't know.
9 a.m. Let's do it.
9?
Yeah, we
Nine
might as
is
well.
okay.
We might schedule from 9 to noon, and if we can be done sooner, great, but if not.
And hopefully we will. I think this, everybody's been going through every single
Right.
account. So I think that we can really talk about some of the bigger issues that we're going to have to talk about, so.
Great. Looking forward to it.
Okay. Everybody's probably noticed the town sign's still not working out here. So we've had a guy come
Yes,
out
yes.
and the main board is burnt out in it. It's around $6,000 to replace the board. So at this point, we're looking at, is it more cost effective to go ahead and replace the whole sign rather than just the board? It's an 8-year-old sign now. Technology is a little bit better than it was before. So we are having proposals come in right now to be able to see which is the best way for us to go. We also have to relocate the whole sign because of the Willard development. They're going to be changing the lane and widening it out, so we're going to have to move the whole thing anyways, rewire it. So we're kind of looking at this as a whole project in general. So probably going to be taking it down in the meantime and not have anything up there until we can get it moved in, because we need to do that rather soon. So just a heads up for everybody on that.
I have to tell you, I know you didn't, none of us designed the board that went bad, but I'm so disappointed that that went bad that quickly and that we're already in this position where we have to deal with this. That is like planned obsolescence. That just hurts.
How long has it been up?
I said it's coming up on 8 years,
8 years. Okay.
but still,
For electronic things, I don't know.
What's the typical lifespan on one?
No, I have no idea.
just
Apparently
disappointed.
it's 8 years.
Yeah. One of the people-
It's 8 years, that's right.
One of
Maybe
the
we want to
people-
go back to a manual board.
Yeah.
Little like stickers things out there.
We used to make posters we used to make and put out there.
Posters, huh?
But one of the people we talked to said that a 8-year-old sign is at that moment where the question is whether to put more money into it or not.
Yeah, sure.
But I guess those electronic
That
ones
end.
are exposed outdoors all
Yeah.
the time. They freeze all the
So the
time.
warranty's probably out by now, right?
It's definitely out.
Okay.
Yes.
I bet the technology is significantly better.
Let's hope.
So we'll have updates on that as we go.
Thank you.
Next one.
Also, we've been working on, we had 2 grants and loans, and actually they're both. It's applied for a grant, but it could go to a loan if the grant's unavailable, or vice versa. One is for the PFAS. So we know that well 3, we still need, or well 2 rather, we need to put the GAC filters in. That'll be part of a budget discussion. But we also need to enclose those filters because they're exposed to the air now, so we can't use them during winter unless they're open 24 hours, and that's problematic also because of the switch out. We have to-
Does GAC mean granulated activated charcoal?
Yes, sir.
See how quick I am? Yeah, I got there right away.
So that was, for the PFAS enclosures, that was $700,000. So we can heat it, be able to run, it continues through the winter. Same with well 2, because well 2, we have an outside chlorine contact tank, and the GAC filters would be outside also. So we wanted to be able to make that continue, or make that, year-round operations that we've never had, well, since 90s when we actually put in that chlorine contact tank. So 2 big things that would need to happen for that. The next one was for the Westerly Waterline Replacement Program. That's a $3 million loan or grant. We'll see what comes out of it to replace all the water lines over there. And then the Westman water lines, we actually are out to bid for that project right now, and that's going to be the American Rescue Funds to fund those expenditures once that happens. So that'll be coming to you guys for an award probably next month. Any questions on that? That's all I have for right now.
I have a question on not that. Did Preston ever come back with any quotes for the lights?
No, so we had a good discussion. we had a good discussion, and there may be some electronic stuff that we have to do also as far as metering. And also, we're gonna lose some poles in the front of the Willard property next door also. So, how we work the controls and the power sources is gonna change. So we're gonna have to get permits, so we don't have anything back from that, but that price may actually go up, because every time you put a meter socket in on a pole, typically that's a good 10 grand for the permitting and for that to actually happen for each source you have. So we're gonna shorten up the distance, so you'll have, if you just envision, once it does happen, down Fisher Avenue, you're gonna have the light poles that are out here on Wayland Commons. Those are gonna be lining the streets on both sides. So then we can have lighted fixtures, snowflakes, whatever, on that side. And then as you get to the old part of town up in there, then it'll go to the overheads, and then it goes down to Liberty Station now, and then out Elgin Road. We're talking about maybe find some power sources and see if we can take it inside of Elgin Road up near Anytime Fitness also. So just to have a whole overheads in the very center of town and coming out. So we don't have a price on it yet.
Is this something we could use like streetscape money for, or like,
No, because
other
that is
grants that
really
are out there?
specific, that's already, specified scope.
Are there other grants, other grant possibilities that we could find
Maybe,
for downtown beautification?
possibly.
Okay.
That's a reach. I've never seen one for that, but we could work something
All
up.
those like small town, I don't know.
I just think it would look amazing, and I think it would like.
No, I agree,
increase
I
the
agree.
vibrance of-
Yeah, we were brainstorming about it today.
Yeah.
We could,
Very festive.
we can make an appeal to Santa Claus.
Can I ask also not that question? You know the lights at the pool parking lot? Is that a county? Okay, I just hate that they're on all night long. It's like bright, shining lights out my back window. Is that a county person that I contact?
Yes, our friend Greg.
Really?
Yes, he's a facilities manager.
Just knock on his door. Yeah. No,
Greg
they've been, Greg
Osmond.
Assant.
Oh, Greg Assant, okay.
Or Maryland.
What's that? What's that,
I was
Jeff?
gonna say Maryland Belcom, because when the electric, for Sarah about the lights, because when the electric sign in front of the Poolesville Elementary School was not working for quite some time. And then Joy and I contacted Maryland Belcom, and I think within an hour, maybe 2 hours maximum, the sign was working.
Wow.
So Maryland gets stuff done.
All right, awesome, thanks.
It's better to contact a staff member first, just from firsthand experience, rather than going to an elected person.
Give him a shot.
Yep.
Chance.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Everyone good?
Everybody else, is that it? Niles, anything from you, buddy?
Nope.
Nope.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second the motion.
I was gonna ask a
Jeff.
question of,
Yeah, go.
I was gonna ask the question of Wade. Wade, was there any more discussion about the electric car chargers? And I noticed that we put up a sign that says, please don't leave your car there forever. But I think we had a discussion about, if you leave a car there and it's already 100%, that they would get some kind of a fee after they left their car there for 5 hours and it only took 2 hours to charge up. Is that a possibility?
No. and-
There's a
and
certain
that-
term for that, but I forgot what the term was.
No, because we really don't have a person to go around and mark tires and check them. I mean, that's the bottom line.
Okay.
We've not heard any more other complaints either. I mean, the signs may be helping. I saw the space was open this morning when I came in early.
Oh, swell. Okay.
So hopefully people are just complying with the signs.
Yeah.
I don't mind asking you.
Thank you.
And then send me the one you like.
That was it.
Okay.
And you have several.
Make a motion to adjourn?
I second that motion.
All in favor of adjourning, thank you. All in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Ooh, fast ending.
Still happy to forget.
That up at the end.
You shut 'em off.